back, famous Mellow Ho. So, Sunday, man, you know what I'm saying? Leo season. We in a new generation, you know what I'm saying? Whole new generation now that the outer planets have moved into Gemini, you know what I'm saying? Officially, we are in the start of a whole new generation, and we can kind of see how this is, you know what I'm saying, going to affect us through having it play out through, you know what I'm saying, this Leo season, how opposing the fucking Pluto, our mind, and our ego's going to, you know what I'm saying, war right now with transformation and rebirth, dealing with society and how we're coming off as our ego is being seen, you know what I'm saying, being cultivated in this new culture and new generation that we're gonna come into. So, you know what I'm saying, full moon and otter, you know what I'm saying, and native astrology, which we gonna come into in the next couple of days, which today is, you know, Sagittarius is in the moon. Moon is in Sagittarius, or I should say, Sun in Leo type shit. So we reacting, responding to our, you know, spirituality, our, you know what I'm saying, religion, experiences that we have dealing with wisdom, knowledges, and, you know, travels that we have gone through as far as being mutable, moldable, and adaptable to those things and of nature that we have experiences with in our spirit. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying, as well, having to consciously act on what our ego and how we are entertaining, having fun, and self-expressing ourselves at the current moment, you feel me? Popping out and showing something, you know what I'm saying? Oh, Kendrick Lamar flunked that ass Gemini ass, you know what I'm saying? he had, you know, a little ushering in of the Gemini energy of this, you know, helping us see how, like, a lot of communication and community is gonna be having to be interplayed and intermingled with the gossip, you know what I'm saying, between how our mind and is kind of, you know what I'm saying, going to war with the new culture versus, you know, and the transformations that we're going through with our ego and how we're cultivating that to be in a new, you know what I'm saying, wave of how we can foundate our expressions and self-expressions of how we, you know what I'm saying, our mind is being transformed to what we're trying to look like as ego. So, you know what I'm saying, with the fixed fire of Leo right now, we're going through and how our ego is trying to be, you know, come off and be produced is kind of in that way, you know, of something, trying to be something new, trying to come out and, you know what I'm saying, trying to, with our fixed fire, fixate and sustain our ability to, you know, be fulfilled by a new creativity, a new, you know what I'm saying, with the coming of passing of the Leo moon and shit, where we planting seeds in our character and how we react and responded to that is basically flowing through how, you know what I'm saying, the moon cycle is leading up to Aquarius being showing us how this new generation is kind of being, you know, putting into play, which the Aries full moon will also, you know what I'm saying, give us a little taste of what we're gonna experience next year, which is actually the new, you know what I'm saying, Aries fire ass kicking off that motherfucking new generation with, how we gonna be able to be actually a new individual and things of that nature, and how we're gonna have to change as far as not just the collective, you know what I'm saying, collectively as a group, as a whole, we are, you see what I'm saying, coming together and ego innovating and spirit individualizing how we, our influence is being perceived in the, you know what I'm saying, being perceived in the public and in our associates, our associations, and how we you know what I'm saying, conduct our power and control, dealing with that, those things, those natures, dealing with the public eye, and how we can are actually are, you know what I'm saying, how our group and cliques are coming together to be seen as, you know what I'm saying, with our ego and our, you know what I'm saying, mind that we're cultivating with the collective is being seen. Aries gonna have a lot to do to put into play into that too as well, because that's, you know what I'm saying, what we are having to relate to. So right now though, like I said, we gonna be reaping them benefits of, you know what I'm saying, from the full moon and you know what I'm saying, in Leo. So coming to, and when we planted that seed in the new moon in Aquarius this last year, you know what I'm saying, coming into this year, which, you know what I'm saying, I'm counting the seasons, you know what I'm saying, is our actual year that springing off from Aries, and then in Pisces is a year. So last year to me, you know what I'm saying, probably this year to y'all, if y'all motherfucking are into the Gregorian or whatever the fuck calendar they call that shit and shit of that nature. But you know, the Washi Hu and all that, calling this, you know what I'm saying, type dealings and things of that nature is what a lot of people would probably prefer to it being this year still, but it was last year, you know what I'm saying, according to, you know what I'm saying, how life actually works, and how how the process starts all the way over of birth, life, death. And so planted the seeds and how we are being, you know what I'm saying, changing or conducting that power and control and associations and our associates and the public eye of how we want our ego to be seen, you know what I'm saying, amongst the collective, through our cliques and through our groups and associations that we have founded, or, you know, coming to you know what I'm saying, produce a seed of, you know what I'm saying, fixating, sustaining a long-term vision of what we see that our collective groups are integrating into the public to be, you know what I'm saying, fashioned and formed to be actually become sustainable and self-sustainable to our own groups and associations that we are foundating and shit. So that seed we're planting coming to kind of, you know what I'm saying, harvest now, you know what I'm saying, to be you know what I'm saying, integrated and pretty much put to use with how we are, you know what I'm saying, have been conducting it and planting and growing, or how we planted and have we been watering that seed of our mind, and how we fixate and sustain our public, you know what I'm saying, ego amongst our associations in the public, versus what we are trying to be and look like against the public, or I guess you could say integrate into the public, because it's more of, now we're just trying to take power control, like on some governmental status type shit, but more like, you know, expanding and growing our spirits so that others can, you know, be more of their self, be more of an individual, that way that we don't have to force upon others our own, you know what I'm saying, philosophy or doctrination of life and society, and how we are coming to produce these fruits that we are growing, you know what I'm saying, from the seeds that we planted, watering them with the emotions that we're giving them, and, you know what I'm saying, bringing them to life with, you know what I'm saying, harvesting through the earth of that we foundated it in, and you know what I'm saying, and shining light on it every day for it to be, um, you know, from our fire of our passions and desires, motivations, goals. You know what I'm saying? How we have fun, entertain each other, self-sustain each other with that metaphysical travel and that experience that we can have as a spirit all together, so that we can, you know what I'm saying, grow it up together. We all can shine a little light on, you know what I'm saying, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. You know what I'm saying? Type shit with all our egos coming together and building that association up together to be able to be seen in a new light or whatever the case may be. So now that this full moon coming into Aquarius is gonna be more of like a community thing, to where, or you know what I'm saying, not entertainment, but more of a feel good, you know what I'm saying, fun, having to be open to the public type thing, so that others can, you know what I'm saying, come join in and pop out and be able to, you know what I'm saying, like Kendra said, show people that, you know, we actually been working on this, you know what I'm saying, actually been watering this with, you know, these deep Pisces, Cancerian, you know what I'm saying, Scorpionic emotions and shit like that. So regardless of all the fucking, you know what I'm saying, astrological names, the divine feminine, if you want to say that, or, you know what I'm saying, our internal or in our maternal world of how we build on to the eternal, and how we build on to existence in general, is you know what I'm saying, a spirit evolving and growing in these times, and playing out our part that we play in a community as an individual in a community. So not no lostness being trying to be put behind it and all that, things of that nature. What I'm basically saying, you know what I'm saying, is we are shining light on our waters that we have, you know what I'm saying, been and you know what I'm saying, elements that we have been introducing into what we're taking the power of control in over in our associations and associates in the public, through, you know what I'm saying, balancing it out with our character and how we express our balance, that, you know what I'm saying, power of how we balance that out through our character and through the celestial creations that we put together through our community. So kind of how we coming together into this right now is like, it's being put into play in a new way, like I said, in a new fashion, informing the generations that we are here in now, so that that we are, you know what I'm saying, pushing as the sentiment of being an individual, you know what I'm saying, Aries and Saturn and Aries, I should say, initiating, creating what we are sustaining as a personal interest, value, and, you know, a affair of building on reality of a circumstance that we want to all come together, see put into play, of how we can, you know what I'm saying, have a, you know, an influence or a power of influence upon reality itself. So not just want to always be in, you know, la la land, like we have been in Pisces, been in you know what I'm saying, Saturn been in Pisces this whole time. So, you know what I'm saying, with all the work, whatever the case we've been putting in to be, you know, transform, you know, become our dream, make our dreams, foundate our dreams to reality. Now this is the part where we're gonna have to sense it. We're gonna have to bring in the senses of, we're gonna have to put in work with ourself and our personality, and how we can transform, how we can rebirth something into reality as far as what we personally are interested in. So now it's not just what the collective is, you know what I'm saying, building on to reality. It's what we all individually are using our imagination and our creative ability to birth something into reality, to stand on business and actually have it be something that's personally personal interest to us, you feel me, and things of that nature. So we personally interested in collectively, you know what I'm saying, Saturn, we're building on that. So that's gonna boost us up into having a fare into this new world, this new earth, you know what I'm saying, that we're coming into, which is not just, not really new, but it's what our spirit is evolving us to become into this new generation, because it's not just, you know what I'm saying, a new earth, but it's really just what we're rebirthing from our ancestors and things of that nature, energy to become evolve through how, you know what I'm saying, looking back how we did things before, to change and be able to innovate and create something different, you know what I'm saying. So that's where, you know what I'm saying, the public comes into play with how we take power and control over that, and our mind being also connected through that with Gemini is how we're gonna also as well, you know what I'm saying, be talking about a lot about it, having to be able to create, you know what I'm saying, a mutable, modal, adaptable thought and an actual frequency that we can communicate and create on in our environment. So it's not just something we can't even put our minds on. So, because it actually is what we're innovating and what we're, you know what I'm saying, making unique to us is what we have our mind thoughts set on, being able to be changeable, interchangeable, and to see and to create a frequency in our environment of how we personally are interested into, you know what I'm saying, building on what we're building on in reality, and change how we are, our power and our, you know, control in society, and how we see, you know, our associations and associates are being put into play into this. So Cancer also being, you know what I'm saying, in Jupiter right now, a lot of placements got in the planets right now. I got as well, you know what I'm saying. I got a lot of these energies, you feel me? So Virgo mainly right now, energies, Cancer, Leo type shit. What we're gonna be seeing a lot of when it's gonna be dealing with, you know what I'm saying, how we come into our egos, and how we gonna be changing this thing, like I said, how we're coming into our, you know what I'm saying, building upon how we are fixating, sustaining, evolve, you know what I'm saying, change of community and change of association is gonna be being fulfilled through how we have been, you know, entertaining ourselves, how we have fun, entertainment, self-express ourselves, you know what I'm saying, through the collective, and pretty much the fulfillment of what we're gonna see play out is in through this full moon, pretty much. By having help through, you know what I'm saying, Virgo, that's what's pretty much gonna be pushing us through this. In Virgo season is gonna be putting in a lot of work for us through, you know what I'm saying, Mars being in Virgo right now as well, having our passions and motivations be having to be put to work, and have a health routine pattern, and how we're actually being healthy and you know what I'm saying, being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to them, and things of that nature, to our comfortability, and how we feel comfortable and safe within those things. So it's gonna be next month or whatever the case may be, a new it's gonna be a portal open, so type shit, through basically having to these new spirits come through the eclipse and things of that nature. It's gonna be offsetting and basically pushing the sentiment even more into the direction of individualizing our work and routine patterns, through us having to put in the work to see our individual personal interests become actually foundated and yeah, foundated and built upon, you know what I'm saying, and building on the reality of that thing that we are interested in personally. So that's where I could see how, you know what I'm saying, we're pretty much changing as far as how we're gonna be in this next generation, this new generation, actually how we see work and how we see play, how we see all the things that we kind of, you know what I'm saying, take for granted and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, it's really all we have. You know what I'm saying? All we really have is the consistency that we can, you know what I'm saying, living on this plane of existence, be able to hold on and grasp on to see a new, you know, a new fluid vision in how we can always create something new and things of that nature through putting in the work, through having a vision, or I guess you could say an internal world that we would like to express, you know what I'm saying, reactively as well as actively, through how our dreams, faith, belief, and imagination can be played out through those things. So that's pretty much the portal that it's going to be opening and things of that nature for our those spirits to come in and help us put in work for that, you know what I'm saying, which I'm saying those spirits, but you know what I'm saying, it's something that we're as well adding on to, as well adding the energy onto, to be able to help, you know what I'm saying, lead and grow those actions that we're gonna have to be taking to be, you know, work, health, routine things that we're gonna have to plant new seeds in, as far as what we see our faith, belief, and imagine, and you know, faith, belief, dreams, delusions, fantasies, and things of that nature actually be put into this new generation, and leading this new generation in a way of being mutable, moldable, and adaptable to that. You know what I'm saying? Being able to be moldable, mutable, and adaptable to how and feel, to how we could feel comfortable and safe and secure in that, to know. You know what I'm saying? It's not, you know what I'm saying, just like Aquarius, you know, they know. You know what I'm saying? That's the affirmation for Aquarius, you feel me? So, which is Virgo's 6th house. So you see what I'm saying? With the North Node being in Pisces, that's what we're gonna be kind of like helping us to become, you know what I'm saying, this our internal world be actually helping us to be, you know what I'm saying, break through and know, like I said, that we can physically interact with these things through having work, health, routine patterns, physically interact with our dreams, faith, belief, imaginations, delusions, fantasies, and things of that nature through having the power of having the work, health, routine. So that's, like I said, pretty much really all we got, you know what I'm saying, can grasp onto is who we really truly are on the inside of, from the work we did and work we are doing to continue to do through spirit, building on reality of things, you know, of earthly things, building on the foundation of, you know, our mentality growing and evolving as a spirit as well, and having our mind, you know what I'm saying, help bring those dream, faith, belief, imaginations down into an actual thought pattern that we can actually, you know what I'm saying, communicate and have a frequency that we can communicate with and create in our environment to be able to swim through. And you know what I'm saying, just like the air, that's what we basically swimming right now through. It's just a lighter version of water, things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So how we are being, you know what I'm saying, intermingled and connected right now is really a lot more through, you know, air, you know, through the mind right now, shit, through Gemini and Aquarius, helping us see the lighter side of things. Even though, you know, Aries gonna be bringing that passion, that raw, fiery, you know, warrior-like spirit, I should say, because, it's more of Aries don't want to bring, you know, trying to bring the fight to others, or rather than, you know what I'm saying, be more like a peacemaker like Libra, and have, you know, be the leader and individualize how we can be a chief, you know what I'm saying, and create and initiate things rather than letting just things sit back and fall all back and having to catch up and play catch up. Aries is gonna get first to the point, quick, straight to the point. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we gonna be coming into this shit. You know what I'm saying? Sparking off this new generation. Quick, fast, straight to the motherfucking point. All goddamn me 7 planets gonna be in Aries next year. It's all hell gonna break loose. You know what I'm saying? When motherfucking Aries touch down in this bitch, come on now. Like, the energy just that Aries, you know what I'm saying, the new generation is gonna bring, it's gonna bring like a whole, and that's why I keep saying in the way that I saying new, because Aries is always gonna be bringing something new. Aries is always gonna be individual, unique, kind of like Aquarius, you know what I'm saying, of how they're unique and weird, or you know what I'm saying, individual amongst a group and a collective and things of that nature. Or they may seem like that wild oddball out, or the black sheep, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying, you would like to say, nursery rhymes and shit like that. That's individualizing, you know what I'm saying. The black sheep is the one that is being paid attention to, because that's individualizing and bringing more, you know what I'm saying, awareness and spirituality to how we all can do that thing, how we all can be, you know what I'm saying, innovative, and how we can all be unique and individual. Adding that with Aries and things of that nature is gonna bring something new. So it's gonna bring a new feeling of, you know, a fiery feeling of more of, you know what I'm saying, an ability to create, an ability to birth things into existence with that Mars passion, you know what I'm saying, that Aries guys is going to help us foundate that into that Saturn, even though it is fallen, you know what I'm saying, Capricorn, which is the ruler of Saturn, is exalted through Mars, through Aries, you know what I'm saying, which that's, you know, Aries and shit. So that's still going to kind of help us, even though, you know what I'm saying, we might have to be extra safe and extra, you know, Aries, watch out, you know what I'm saying. This is y'all's, you know what I'm saying, opposing energy or whatever for the next couple of years and things of that nature. But it also is an opportunity for you to show how passionate and how motivated you are to foundate and bring things into reality. So not a time to back down at fucking all, even though this shit is falling, we're gonna make it rise again. So that's kind of the Aries energy in general. Aries energy don't never back down, that's why it's the warrior. Aries energy don't, even though it might fall, it's gonna get back up. So, you know what I'm saying, this shit ain't gonna just quit with us having to, you know what I'm saying, be fiery or passionate about it and shit like that. We're gonna have to, you know what I'm saying, be level-headed and things of that nature, which that's why I said kind of Aquarius and Gemini helping us out as well. So with bringing this new generation and, you know what I'm saying, into reality, and having these new individuals and unique individuals, the most probably unique individuals and honestly generation we've seen in a while, you know what I'm saying, coming into this generation with this AI age and this new technology and all these things of that nature, digital currencies and shit like that, we're going to see a lot of change when it comes to just shit dealing with, you know what I'm saying, innovating and things of that nature. Things this, you know what I'm saying, computers and things this, you know, so we connect with our mind, but in the healthy way, you know what I'm saying, a more healthy way. We don't want no more robots. We don't want no more trolls, you know, and no more AI shit that's gonna be going against us. We want all things this, you know what I'm saying, that we make artificial, this, you know what I'm saying, that we make out of the elements of the earth, which truly, you know, it's not artificial, but that we should say man-made, because being artificial is like you're trying to imitate art, but we are actually making it art. You know what I'm saying? Life is art. You know what I'm saying? It's not just, you know, art is what is anything that we can create. You know what I'm saying? Is what basically art is. Art can be anything. So you can make an art out of making videos. So this is just, you know what I'm saying, anything could be an art. You know what I'm saying? Down from the smallest creature and spirit and being in existence to the biggest, broadest oversoul and you know what I'm saying, God or whatever the case, a spirit might take the shape and form of trying to be and things of that nature. It's all playing out in that form of, it's an art to doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's not just one way of doing it, something, but it is multiple ways to do it right. You see what I'm saying? It's a right way to do it in multiple ways. So, you know what I'm saying? We coming into this new generation, that's kind of how we looking at art and things of that nature. We looking at it as a way, shape, or form of something that's really infinite, something that's not really just a price tag could be put on it and things of that nature, something that's gonna be inspirational. So something that's inspirational truly you can't put a price tag and label on it. You know what I'm saying? Because then it's infinite. Then it's, you know, eternal or whatever the case. Then kids and, you know what I'm saying, other spirits spring off from that art that's created to become, you know, anew and to become, you know what I'm saying, transform and expand, you know what I'm saying, all possibilities with every possible way that art can be able to be rebirthed and you know what I'm saying, bring and transforming energy in general, bring transformation to the current moment and the present in general. So yeah, how we gonna be basically like I was saying though, innovating that, you know what I'm saying, we could see that art being put into play. People starting their own businesses, people starting their own you know, concerts, people starting their own music, people starting their own production studios and movie studios, you know, going movie studio grill and all that things, cooking the movies and things of that nature, and you know, having everybody gather around the fireplace and have that good feel good energy of acting out and playing a role of life in general is, you know what I'm saying, what this season and things of that nature is about. It's playing the role of not, you know what I'm saying, role playing another character, but actually creating and innovating, you know what I'm saying, being unique to your character and how your role is being mingled and interconnected and played into the associations, associates, and the public. How we're gonna be pretty much reaping the seeds that we planted from what we grown, and how we had a motherfucking, you know what I'm saying, power control, you know what I'm saying, new seed and emotion to plant onto that seed from from, you know, Pluto moving his happy-go-lucky ass into motherfucking Aquarius. How our mind is being transformed to the motherfucking fullest extent right now from how our body is being played out through our character as well. You know what I'm saying? So like that's why I said we trying to be, as a collective right now, be seen as, through our associations, push out that character that we kind of, that solar plexus, you know what I'm saying, shine a light on our emotion, not just emotion, but you know what I'm saying, that fun and creative expressionatory energy of what we find serious, but also as well at the same time, you know what I'm saying, innovative to how our association is wanting to be seen. You know what I'm saying, how our associates is wanting to be seen, not just a selfish being for self, you know what I'm saying, egotistical, you know what I'm saying, having all the spotlight for ourselves type energy, you know what I'm saying? So this is kind of how you can see the generations also shifting as well too. You can see more right now people trying to be more in a groups, group circumstance, or more in a tribe and a culture. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to be a part of, the native or you know what I'm saying, indigenous roots and things of that nature, because that's what's more of a expansion of what's come to be anyways. You know what I'm saying? What the tribes and the natives were already wanting to do was expand and grow, and you know what I'm saying, and not to just travel the world and make others change from what you're doing, but change as well as see others play out that as well through God and all possibilities. Y'all coming together through God's children, all God's children, coming together to expand everything that we're here to do. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just all about the money or the fame or the, you know what I'm saying, the power control and the, you know what I'm saying, the fortune of having the self-sustainability and things of that nature. It's about having fun. It's about our spirit growing and wanting to connect and experience new experiences to be able to go through, you know what I'm saying, travel through individually and things of that nature without having to stumble and fall and always need a group to pick us up. We're going to be there having to help lead the group too, through helping the group shine and things of that nature, not just having yourself be put on the spotlight, you know what I'm saying, and wanting all the fucking fun and attention and the funds, and you know what I'm saying, in the currency and shit and things of that nature. So we want the currency to be spread out and be, you know what I'm saying, what do they say, money falls all in one place and it stacks up. It's like a pile of shit, you know what I'm saying? You don't want that shit. You want that shit to be spread it out and want that shit to be even. You want the earth to be, you know what I'm saying, all intermingled and connected, not separated and separate, like, demonic natures and things of that nature is what they try to teach us, that the devil is, you know what I'm saying, something that's you know what I'm saying, separate from you and things of that nature, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? God is not separate from none of these things. Is separate from whoever the person that came up with it. That person is connected to those ideologies and philosophies of what life is and things of that nature. We all are connected because the things that we can even think to be able to share amongst each other, for another person to even receive that, for another person to even be able to, you know what I'm saying, know what you are saying without you even having to explain that shit. That's what being connected is. That's what having a knowing of that you created something, so it must be somewhere out there, you know what I'm saying, that a different perspective can be seen from how a different way, shape, or form that thing can be created, or how that thing can be added upon to, or how that thing can be, judged, or not just judged, but, you know what I'm saying, be added on to as a shape form of, you know what I'm saying, boundaries and circumstances of how we can make it healthy and relatable. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean by being the judge. So that's what a different perspective always comes in with having your ego be at play in these things, in which you can create from philosophies, whatever the case may be, whatever your ideologies and art that you want to, you know what I'm saying, intermingle, connect with your associates in the public. It's gonna have to be shared, and it's a shared experience. Everything ain't just, even though we are here having an individual experience through, being a spirit and things of that nature, we didn't come here alone, and we didn't create this alone. So this world and things of that nature, we're gonna have to be innovating and creating helping each other's egos shine through the associations and associates of how we're taking power and control over it, and transforming everything that we individually are unique. You know what I'm saying? It makes us unique and things of that nature. It's gonna be having to be, in a healthy way, shine light on of how we do actually do connect, and how we do conduct these things actually, through the mind, all the way down through the actions of how we shine our light in general, and the things that we can connect to through having fun, entertaining, and self-expressing ourselves in our associates and the public and things of that nature. So that's gonna be, helping us add on to how we having this next month with these spirits is gonna be, these new spirits gonna be coming in to help us, gonna be having to put in work, help us having to be individual more foundating the motherfucking new generation. This is really just, because she's gonna retrograde and shit like that back into a Pisces. She's gonna, retrograde for a little bit. Then Aries season comes. Then it's game on, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's raw dog Jamal motherfucking right into that. You know what I'm saying? Right into that hole. You know what I'm saying? Of the holy and things of that nature. How we can, actually, lead and things of that nature. How we can actually lead and develop a leadership skill to be an individual, not just having to, be toxic when it comes to personal issues and personal interests and things of that nature. That's why we are going through this stage of still healing right now. Chiron being Aries can, currently and things of that nature. Chiron helping us initiate and create how we can heal and transform pain and suffering into growth, and transform that into expanding how our spirit wants to grow, and how our spirit wants to go through these experiences and have new experiences to be able to be an individual in general. Because without even doing that, you're not going to be an individual. You're not going to be, you're going to come out of wherever you came out of in a collective circumstance of the place that you came from in general, or whether that would have been the spirits that you were harboring around in the past life, and you got sucked into your own mind, or things of that nature, separated from everybody. You still had to have help from a group to do you yourself and whoever you claim who you are is still coming into existence through how you had your energy conduct through how your spirit wanted to be, play out and shit like that. So regardless of whoever you think you are today, or whatever you think you can do, or whatever you think is gonna go on, your spirit is always gonna be eternal. So that's the thing that's gonna always never gonna leave you. So you are that, and that's basically what you are. So you're never gonna leave the foundation and the circumstance of past life experiences, currently what you're going through and things of that nature is what you're adding on to, is forever gonna be expanding the universe, whether good, bad, ugly, or beautiful. And so that's what we kind of can change from here though, and things of that nature, is what helps, evolve and make things new, and what helps, life go on is through making mistakes. It's through having personal mistakes and things of that nature. So growing through that, having a healthy personality, and it's going to be having a healthy mind state when it comes to how you birth things and create in general into your own personal interests, and ability to birth things into existence with your creative, with your more desires passions and motivations being able to be traveled upon and spiritually expanded and things of that nature is kind of how what this Aries new generation kickoff is going to help us sustain and foundate as far as what we want to see this new generation be in and be cocooned in and things of that nature. So be led into, so things of that nature. So we want to be breeding leaders and not followers. And so that's kind of how as we learn to be a better leader, the followers are going to be learn to be better lead themselves into being better followers. So it's still going to be not just the following of, you know what I'm saying, what the leaders want, but also integrating with the leading with the followers who are being, you know what I'm saying, introduced to new spirits, aka into. So this is gonna be, you know what I'm saying, it's gonna be real passionate. It's gonna be real. We that's why we feel it now, you know what I'm saying? We're starting to already feel it in the air. It's like not really just an anxious feeling, but more of a Aries before the feeling type feeling. So you already are gonna do what you're gonna do. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, now you still got the chance to put in the work to see, you know what I'm saying, this Virgo, you know what I'm saying, spirits coming in to help us put in the work to see, you know what I'm saying, through this portal of bringing down our dreams, faith, belief, and shit like that into reality from North Node and Pisces and shit, going on a destiny and path of seeing how we can, you know what I'm saying, be mutable, moldable, and adaptable to others' dreams, faith, belief, and imagination, fantasies, delusions, and shit like that. Pretty much is helping us to create that into reality. You know what I'm saying? Not just be delusional and like I said, all that shit of the fantasies and dreams, faith, belief that we have from the work that we put in through being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to our work health routines, patterns, you know what I'm saying? So that we gonna go through what we gonna go through, you know what I'm saying, is basically we're gonna be having to, you know what I'm saying, change as far as how we develop the skills and abilities to even feel comfortable, safe, and secure with how we're growing as a individual and shit like that, to how we even bring our dreams, faith, and belief and delusions down to reality in the first place, or you know what I'm saying, I could say, how we can fixate and sustain that in a personal interest. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how that vibration and of transformation is gonna play out with Aries, Pisces, and shit like that through a lot through Virgo having to, you know, help us push us into this work health routine, feeling comfortable, and what we're gonna have to do to feel safe and secure and feel comfortable. So that's what we're gonna have to do, basically, to feel safe, secure, and comfortable to how we are, you know what I'm saying, motherfucking changing how the folk, our dreams and faith, belief, delusions, imaginations, and things of that nature is being being able to be sensed, being able to be felt through how we can foundate a you know what I'm saying, touch, taste, smell, hearing, tasting, feeling, you know what I'm saying, all five senses ability to be able to ignite that fire from the internal world, ignite that fire to be able to play through it, you know what I'm saying, and be able to lead it actually through this new generation and things of that nature. That's kind of how that, you know what I'm saying, how I can see that working out. So with Virgo really helping us in these coming months, I should say, it's really kicking off some shit too. So and that brings me back to my point, which I was on earlier, about how Virgo, these new spirits is really coming into play, is switching the whole, you know what I'm saying, and shout out to solar system and them, how the generation is gonna be being put into place, switching out the, you know what I'm saying, what we talked about in solar system group is how the new moon and things of that nature, when next month comes upon and shit like that, is gonna be kind of being shifted through a spiritual vibrational transformation into how we're leading this, you know what I'm saying, pre-startup and new start of a whole new generation. So you know what I'm saying, start of a whole new world basically. So you know what I'm saying, hella Aries energy next year. Like, again, I cannot stop thinking about it, saying things about it, because I can feel it in the air. You know what I'm saying? You can feel it building up right now already. Things is going on in the world and shit like that. People losing their minds and shit. People's egos going motherfucking all out right now. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to think of somebody to connect to a Leo energy and things of that nature. But regardless of that, and examples and things of that nature, this pretty much what's going on. You can see it for yourself. You know what I'm saying? What's going on is everybody's wanting to see where the new world's gonna be going into. You know what I'm saying? Basically, everybody's trying to do their own thing, but also trying to go along with the wave and how things are being played out at the moment and shit like that, to what the fuck they think this cool, or what the fuck they think this, you know, hyper trendy, or you know what I'm saying, this shit or whatever, you know what I'm saying. That's pretty much how everybody is, you know, trying to go along with, like, streaming and shit like that, and getting online and all that type of shit, you know what I'm saying? Whether you have a purpose for it or not, niggas just doing the shit, you feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Everything is for God, though. Everything that we here to do is always expanding what the fuck you already came here to do. It's already gonna be done. So, you know what I'm saying? But regardless of that, you came here to be yourself. And so what people are doing, trying to be themselves, they're trying to be everybody else, really. So not really even being themselves. They're trying to be, you know what I'm saying, I guess you could say a snowflake. They're trying to be unique, okay? But what we're gonna see, or what we're gonna be coming into in these next couple months, and you know what I'm saying, like I said, this new generation and shit like that, we're seeing that this shit right here is how we're gonna have to be doing it, how we're gonna have to be having fun through you know, how our spirit really is gonna be having fun is by putting in that work. You know what I'm saying? By putting in that motherfucking, to see them dreams and fantasies, faith, belief, imagination, and whatever delusions you may be, you know, trying to bring into reality, be seeing it be watered, and our emotion be not just it being watered, but our emotion is what's being the catalyst for it to be more, you know what I'm saying, nurturing and making it mature to how mother's milk wants to nurture it and things of that nature, how God wants to nurture it and things of that nature. So we're trying to go along with right now how God wants to shape, mold, and form and mold us, things of that nature. Moon being in Sagittarius too, like I said, trying to see kind of what, you know, how we can travel to that space of, in our mind, being able to be unique and things of that nature, and how in our mind we're trying to be able to, you know what I'm saying, be mutable, moldable, and adaptable to change as far as what we create in our environment, our frequencies that we are creating in our immediate environment, and how our mind is being able to be unique in that circumstance is what we're trying to, you know what I'm saying, travel to. So traveling through thoughts and ideas and new worlds and things of that nature, which is all here, you know what I'm saying, which is all right now. So your spirit is eternal, you know what I'm saying, your mind is internal, you know what I'm saying, and your body is the external thing that we're using simultaneously at all in the same time. So this is how you can see reality truly and honestly is magic. So this is the Father, Son, Holy Spirit type shit that religion always refers to and shit like that. This is what is being conducted into our spirit, is what we are trying to say that is holy, or what God is, or what the circumstance of how we can do the right thing is. It's through our mind, having that ability to be, you know, use our mind as a tool to let our spirit grow through using our body is the ritual and spell from the witchcraft that we are, you know what I'm saying, being able to play out. Whatever that is, whatever the case may be. So that's the witchcraft of it. Whatever people are going to want you to think and going to want you to believe is something that you're going to connect to, but your spirit is also going to tell you more than what meets the eye. Your spirit is always going to tell you more than what is said in these English words or these different languages and shit of that nature. Your spirit's language is none of those things. Your spirit's language is that in itself, is nothing. So in everything all at once, as well as having the ability to go through to maneuver and to move through those things, nothing and everything, all at once. That's how the fuck reality is even being conducted right now. So through space, you see what I'm saying, through space, time, and you know what I'm saying, space, time, and matter, right? AKA energy, you know what I'm saying? This is fluidity, this is movement. It's forever moving. It's never stagnant. So like, you know what I'm saying, going into that tangent of how our spirit's language is and things of that nature. That's how, you know what I'm saying, I'm trying to, you know what I'm saying, describe the ability of what we're trying to play out right now as a collective, I should say. You know what I'm saying, with Gemini sliding this, or I should say Uranus sliding this happy-go-lucky ass into Gemini. That's what our mind is on right now. We trying to connect with how the fuck we can all be one with our environment, be one with the frequencies that we're creating, and be able to learn from that and grow from that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And then like I said, today was Sunday. Well, it's pretty much Monday now. We're going into you know what I'm saying, to the nighttime. Just got off work say a little second ago and things of that nature. Pretty much how I can see it is the frequencies that we creating and shit like that is trying to go not really go against, but be relatable, you know what I'm saying, and balance the power of the how our spirit wants to move and how our spirit wants to be able to be free and flow through these experiences. You see what I'm saying? So by grounding us and connecting us to, you know, an idea, ideology and shit like that, or philosophy, a mutable, modal, and adaptable experience. So by also us shining consciously, you know, the light of our awareness of how our ego and fun, entertainment, and the self-expressionatory aspect of how our, you know what I'm saying, mind is trying to be played out, you know, the fire feeling aspect of it, of how our ego is and how we want to be seen and shit. That's me using the meaning of how we, you know what I'm saying, trying to play out right now, metaphysically traveling through these things. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to play it out through metaphysically traveling in a way of us having fun, entertaining ourselves, and expressing ourselves in a way of being able to shine conscious light on what we all collectively trying to, you know what I'm saying, be a part of us associated, you know what I'm saying, healthily, like I'm saying, unhealthily ways we could see it play out in a way of trying to be only the one that is being only known for this thing, and only, you know what I'm saying, spotlight being only put onto this one thing and one, you know, only, and shit like that, which we know everything is connected through, you know, everything is connected. So it's not the most healthy way to go about things, you know what I'm saying? Regardless of whatever, you know what I'm saying, you're trying to accomplish, it's always gonna go back to God. So whether it be for yourself, whether it be for somebody else, it's always expanding all possibilities. So it's never just you and you're only lonely, you're only on your lonely, you know what I'm saying? It's never that. So with these experiences that you're going through, your individually spirit is what's going through these experiences that you create for yourself. So that's the only thing, you know what I'm saying, that you can truly, and I actually honestly say, put a spotlight on, to say that that's what's, you know what I'm saying, only you. But at the end of the day, still, like I said, you can't just take all the credit for it and be like, you know what I'm saying, this was me and only created this, only it was ever this, and you know what I'm saying, it's gonna, from that, even if that is the truth, that's still gonna be another, you know what I'm saying, growth opportunity and another possibility from that point of seeing how that situation or circumstance and experience played out for that one individual, and is also going to be able to be played out for others. So you know what I'm saying, that's kind of how, you know what I'm saying, right now we're playing out, you know what I'm saying, our fun and entertainment aspect of how we enjoy our own spotlight and putting our spotlight into things, just trying to go through that experience and of the, you know what I'm saying, of the wisdom and knowledge that we can, you know, teach and learn and grow through with each other. You know what I'm saying? Also, not as well just teach, but learn. You know what I'm saying? How we can perceive and give knowledge and experience, and knowledge and wisdom to others and shit. So how we pretty much from there, you know what I'm saying, this power of influence is gonna be influencing us, you know what I'm saying, and as well as what we're influencing. Pretty much, like I said, Leo, Cancer, Virgo energies, all narcissistic, all motherfucking spotlight energies. Like I said, all energies of self and shit like that. Energies of more of what we put the spotlight on to talk about when we are, you know what I'm saying, going through the motions of building our own internal world and our own situation and circumstance as far as it comes to how we act in a character, how we act in a, you know what I'm saying, how we act in a entertainative or fixed fiery and aspect, as well as how we can, you know what I'm saying, analyze and be mutable, moldable, you know what I'm saying, and found data, analytical and work ability to work on ourselves and shit like that, as well as, you know what I'm saying, that's the good thing about the Virgo energy. It could be critical and criticizing to others as well, but it's for the help of them, it's for the betterment of them, you know what I'm saying, and that's in a healthy way. That energy it could be used rather than just for selfish needs and gains and maternal gains when it comes to that Virgo energy and shit like that, because you can see they real good at that shit, you know what I'm saying, good at getting that money, good at getting that, you know what I'm saying, getting that love, getting that, or not, I wouldn't just say love, but I would say good at getting, giving that love. I could say, good at, you know what I'm saying, finding ways to be moldable, mutable, and adaptable to get to that safety, security, and safety, you know what I'm saying, security and stability, which, you know what I'm saying, kind of describes the earth element and shit like that when it comes to that. So those all things that we pretty much are influencing right now, are having the power to be influenced by. So, you know what I'm saying, the sun, Mercury, us being consciously aware of what we're having to take actions on, have different viewpoints, what our mind is analyzing, as well as communicating on, is our ego, is our way of having fun, entertaining, and self-expressing ourselves amongst our associates in the public and things of that nature. With that being, you know what I'm saying, the balance of power to Leo and shit like that, power of influence as well. We are being able to be, you know what I'm saying, expand our spirituality right now and our experiences dealing with that, and our dealing with how we are able to love, value, and appreciate things as well, which I got this placement too in Cancer. Venus is what we're nurturing and, you know what I'm saying, growing upon when it comes to our family, internal world, whichever, you know what I'm saying, in home circumstances, whichever that describes, is to be to your, you know what I'm saying, home, family, and private life, or whatever the case, is what we're expanding on spiritually right now, growing as far as with Venus and Jupiter having us show love, value, and appreciation through initiating, creating those things, as well as you know what I'm saying, go through experiences to gain wisdom and knowledge through initiating and creating those things, you know what I'm saying, family, home, and privacy situations that we have to, you know what I'm saying, be able to be the leader and the nurturer and the mature mother-like role in those abilities, you know, our spirit's abilities to play out that nurturing role and shit like that, is helping us to be able to be more knowledgeable and gain wisdom and out of the experiences of how we can love, value, and appreciate our family, home, privacy situations in a more you know what I'm saying, a more relatable foundated like way, for us not just to be more of trying to be so narcissistic or so you know what I'm saying, so for the self emotions of what we created, you know what I'm saying, creating our self emotions, but creating emotions to help up, you know what I'm saying, also, you know, creating emotions that we do want to see in, you know, others have their emotion of too, not just the same emotion, but creating emotions that others can create their emotions off of too. There you go, right there. Not being narcissistic with it and only saying, no, this is only me. I only feel like this. Nobody else can. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how we are giving love, value, and appreciation to those things, family, home, privacy, that we can be relatable with others, you know what I'm saying, giving them their privacy with their family and their how they show their love through you know, whatever home circumstance they go through and on a day-to-day basis. Power of influence as well, like I said, Mars and South Node being a Virgo, that's more of us taking that passion, motivation, and with the comfortability of the work health routine patterns being put into play by helping us not be, like I said, as narcissistic, as motherfucking all for ourselves with those analytical you know what I'm saying, sustainable you know what I'm saying, because that's kind of how I look at Virgo, self-sustainable, more more safe, secure, you know, safe, secure, and what is it? Yeah, more comfortable, safe, secure, and stable with ourselves, but with others as well. Feeling the, or not just feeling, but, you know, creating the thinking about, you know what I'm saying, analyzing about, you know what I'm saying, structuring about the likeness of others, analytical, stable, you know, foundated energies with how they feel comfortable, safe, and secure as well. You know, helping others see how they can, you know, analyzing how we do it as well as how others can do it too. You know what I'm saying? How others can have their passions, motivations, and desires be brought more into a stable, founded, and secure self-sustainability of having, you know, having that self-analytical ability to be mutable and adaptable to those energies, feeling comfortable with it, feeling comfortable and confident, you know what I'm saying? That's a lot of dealing with that Virgo energy, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like, you know what I'm saying, on the later degree of Leo, so I'm a kind of progressed Virgo, I should say, in those you know what I'm saying, dealing with that topic and those topics and things of that nature, having a more of a passion to be confident with the comfortability of being analytical and being, you know what I'm saying, analyzing precision and not just perfection, but having the ability to you know what I'm saying, confine and have confident a self sustainability ability to have that earth like ability to have a safety, security, and, you know, a safe, secure, and a stable work health routine pattern, you know what I'm saying, with those things. So that's kind of like with your passion, motivations, desires, and your comfortability energy, having a confidence to be, you know, stable, secure, and feel safe with those things is what Virgo is all about, being mutable, modal, and adaptable to the way they think, the way they communicate, as well as helping others do that. So that's more of where the narcissistic component of it kind of falls off and becomes more of a nurturing, you know what I'm saying, and the giving life aspect of this season through this is basically the life season we're going through now, with Leo going through Sagittarius, you know what I'm saying? With Sagittarius, we're going to be getting into death season. So you see what I'm saying? So that's another story. But like I said, these power of these influences right now is pretty much more of, we're not trying to be narcissistic, but confident, you know what I'm saying? Confident with the power that we're being able to influence, as well as the power that we're being influenced by. So also having a power of influence in the first house, you know what I'm saying, conjunction with these aspects to Chiron, Neptune, and Saturn and Aries, how we're healing and transforming our pain and suffering into growth and transformation, and how we're, you know, growing on that dream, fantasy, delusion, faith, belief, and imagination, and how we're you know what I'm saying, foundating that, sustaining that, and basically seeing it play out through us bringing into reality of our personal interests, of values and things of that nature, is how we're being able to, you know what I'm saying, have the power to influence right now as well. Like Aries right now is just kicking motherfucking ass with how the fuck the energy is right now. Us feeling like, that's why I said us feeling that anxious feeling is not just anxiousness, but it's more of a, you are gonna do it. You know you're gonna do it. That's Aries. You know what I'm saying? You is that. You know what I'm saying? I am that shit. You feel me? So you know, regardless, whatever the fuck go on, you gon' do that. You know what I'm saying? You gon' do that. But Virgo helping us right now with, gotta be confident in that shit. You gotta be safe and secure in that shit. You gotta be stable and foundate your circumstances when it comes to how your mind is, you know what I'm saying, gonna be putting in the work and the health routine patterns with this shit, because this is life. We're gonna have to be, you know what I'm saying, bringing into reality is our personal interests, you know what I'm saying, our affairs, our personal value, what we can, you know what I'm saying, what we have that is valuable to our personality and things of that nature, of our chart ruler and shit like that. So with all those power of influences and shit like that, that first house aspect pretty much I'ma say, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna go into the vibration of the transformation, like I was saying about Pisces and Aries earlier. Jumping off from that again, it's helping us, you know what I'm saying, 12th house from Aries is Pisces. So what Pisces wants to see as a transformation and of their vibration is, you know what I'm saying, Aries validating, stabilizing, sustaining, you know what I'm saying, being confident, like I said, in that ability to heal, grow, and change, you know what I'm saying, that pain and suffering into some transformation, into some birthing energy, is to see that dream, faith, belief, imagination, you know what I'm saying, gotta stretch out, you know what I'm saying, that personal interest, in that personal interest that it wants to foundate and make secure and stabilize and bring into reality and shit like that. It wants to feel confident, like I said, with that. So, and Aries being Pisces second house, it wants to have the, you know what I'm saying, dream. It wants to have the you know what I'm saying, the imagination. It wants to have the creativity, with how it can dream, and it wants to have the freedom and the fluidity and mutable, moldable, and adaptableness to how it can be able to express its own dreams and its fantasies, delusions, beliefs, faith, and imagination and things of that nature, to be able to create upon its destiny. You know what I'm saying? So that's what these energies is all. I'm talking about it like it's people and shit like that, but we are these energies, creating them to be what we see into reality. We are these walking energies to be able to know what this even is, for us to say this is how, Aries wants this, and this is how Pisces wants this. Aries wants it, in a initiative, fiery way and shit like that, through the mutable, moldable, and emotional adaptiveness of Pisces fluidity, and Pisces, spiritual, spiritual expansion of energy. With Jupiter being as it's, being its, where it's home at. Neptune being its, where it's, co-ruler at. It dreams of, expanding the collective. It's not just, for its own dream to be finalized, and it's just, oh, my dream, it's dreams to be interconnected with all the dreams of the collective. So that's where Aries 12th house is, for its destiny, is to collect and connect and be fluidity, if that's a fucking word, being fluidable to its mutable, moldable, and adaptable, change like energy of where its own personal dreams can connect to others. Can connect to the dreams of others, and it bring it to reality. Bring the destiny of everybody's dreams, help it come together with its own, as well as helping itself help others. Because that's truly and honestly where Aries is coming from. It wants to help others, but it helps how it does that is helping itself help others. So personally, it fiery and initiates the dream with its personal, its personal interest. Collectively, immutable, it molds mutability and adaptability with how everybody else's dreams is fluid and fluidable to its own. So that's how it helps itself, helps others. Okay? So just like, when you're on the road, you want to drive for yourself, but you're also going to be driving for others as well. You're going to be looking out for the safety and the, and the comfortability to have others feel like that. Not as well as, yourself, you want to make yourself feel safe, but that's how you do it. That's how you get on the road. You want to make yourself feel safe, but you do it through helping yourself make others feel safe as well. So that's how because you want others to, because that's why you won't even make yourself feel safe, is through knowing others feel safe too. Like, you don't want them to be in some danger on the road, and y'all they over there having an argument and shit like that, and you over here, you see it and shit like that. You don't know, what to do. That's when the Aries kick in right then and there. Wait, slow down real quick. But also take action at the same time, initiate and create, tell, you know what I'm saying, call a cop, do whatever you gotta do, you know what I'm saying. You girl in the car, she might not like seeing that, or it's just shit like that, you know what I'm saying. It's just, and that's just some random circumstance or whatever, but who knows, you know what I'm saying. Probably didn't happen in real life before, you know what I'm saying. So that's kind of, and that's just not even dealing all with driving, that's dealing with a lot of other stuff. But see what I'm saying, that's how life could play out. It's just a circumstance of you also are driving life for others with how their dreams and shit want to be, you know, be molded and be mutable and adaptable to how the circumstance really needs to be played out and how it needs to change as far as the you know what I'm saying, the love of others. You know what I'm saying? That's that Pisces exalted shit. You feel me? So that's showing love to the collective. You know what I'm saying? That's showing love to your other fellow spirits and they dream bodies and shit like that. So that's that power of or that vibrational transformation, I should say, that dynamic between Aries, Pisces shit. You see what I'm saying? And where it pretty much is how our vibration of transformation, or you know what I'm saying, is kind of being, is it in the ending of, you know what I'm saying, which is also, you know what I'm saying, the Pisces themes is endings and subconscious, internal prisons and shit like that, of which what we think that is, you know what I'm saying, what we can't let go of or something, or what we can't undo. You see what I'm saying? So that's where we got a lot of wisdom, knowledge from and shit like that, is from, you know what I'm saying, those delusions and those imaginations and fantasies, beliefs and shit like that. We get a lot of, you know what I'm saying, cuckoos from that shit too. But you know, it's basically how we show love to, you know what I'm saying, how Aries is gonna show love to the collective is through driving for itself as well as others, with that destiny of its 12th house being in the North Node and shit like that, being you know what I'm saying, its ending of how it wants to be, you know what I'm saying, a dream be played out with everybody else's, you know what I'm saying. So vibrational transformation really from there, Gemini, and how the fuck, you know what I'm saying, Uranus is being, you know, transforming and shit right now. Spiritually, we are, you see what I'm saying, transforming the way we think or communicate, and how we are mutable, moldable, and adaptable to how in our mind, and how we learn and shit in our environment, in our immediate environment, and how we are spiritually transforming the innovating and uniqueness of our mind, and how we can communicate and be, you know what I'm saying, mutable, modal, and adaptable with our environment, and the frequency that, you know what I'm saying, that we creating and shit like that, is pretty much helping us to see how that vibration is, you know what I'm saying, spiritually we're transforming that to help us see how the vibration is transforming through Cancer, how we are initiating and creating our home, family, and privacy and shit like that, and how the fuck we're learning to go through these experiences and gain wisdom and knowledge out of that. You know what I'm saying? Initiating and creating our home, family, and privacy experiences through that, and showing love, value, and appreciation through having that be our vibration or transformation. Second house from Gemini, that's pretty much how we're foundated, and how we're wanting to, how Gemini is going to be wanting to you know what I'm saying, think, communicate, and, or you know what I'm saying, actually, you know, sustain, feel secure, and with that being unique, the unique individual thinking, communicating within its environment to be able to transform and the way it feels secure and it feels safe, secure, and stable within that, to be able to um, grow through experiences, wisdom, and knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Grow through Cancer and Jupiter, through love, value, and appreciation. So vibrationally, that's how kind of Gemini, in our mind, and how we are being mutable, modal, and adaptable to these thoughts and ideas that we're having right now, is by bringing the vibration that we're transforming from this shit into initiating, creating our family home privacy experiences, wisdom, and knowledge that we're gaining out of that, showing love, value, and appreciation through that. You know what I'm saying? As well as like vice versa, like I said, for Cancer, this is its 12th house, so it's wanting to connect its dreams, faith, belief, and imagination from how it's being, initiated and creating that home family privacy, and how it's showing love, value, and appreciation for that home family privacy. Spiritually, it wants to transform and have its dream be connected through the mind, and how we are being individual and unique to our environment, and how we create and add the frequency of our, into our environment, add our frequency of creation into the our immediate environment. Yeah. So what Cancer is basically wanting to do is, you see what I'm saying, take that wisdom, knowledge, experience that it gains through that it goes through and shit like that, show love, value, and appreciation for the home, family, and privacy that it's building upon and shit like that, to be able to express its dreams and transformation spiritually through the mind, and how we are connecting individually and uniquely through our ideologies and philosophies and individual unique circumstances, through how we can build on our frequency and our frequency of what we create into our environment, to our immediate environment. So moving on from there, vibration of transformation from Cancer being in Jupiter and Venus. Spiritually, we're transforming, like I said, from the mind, wanting our dreams to be connected through, spiritually through that, dreams, faith, belief, and imagination. We're transforming spiritually from our home, family, and privacy, and how we're showing love, value, and appreciation through that, and as well experiencing learning new things, growing wisdom and knowledge, and initiating, creating that, leading that nurturing, mature, mother-like feeling, and nurturing energy to how we're wanting to transform, and a vibration of transformation through is our Leo being in Sun and Mercury, our ego, and how we are collectively, fixating, sustaining our minds, and how we are changing to, pick a side of how we are actually wanting to be seen and shit like that, through consciously being aware of the actions and the viewpoints of others and how they see us, and analyzing and thinking, communicating on these things that we would say that entertains us, or that how we can self-express ourselves, and how we can, be fixate and sustain that feel good energy of what we want to put on the spotlight, and how we actually want to be seen from, the mental circumstance of Leo, like I said, of our fiery internal vision of where we put on the spotlight and where we put on the cooking table of how we can all come together and eat that good meal of what we are looking at and what we are consciously aware of. So our character, aka, is what it is. Our home, family, and privacy is wanting to fixate and sustain a confident foundation in things of that nature, to be able to feel, touch, sense, taste, and have the ability to play, to use these things. You know what I'm saying? To utilize these things as tools, utilize our ego and our vulnerability as our ego. You see what I'm saying? So our internal world, our home, family, and privacy, being able to come from that dream, faith, belief, and imagination, from Leo's 12th house being that in Cancer and shit like that, develop that wisdom, knowledge, and experiences that we go through to develop that wisdom, knowledge, showing love, value, and appreciation for our home, family, and privacy, being the dream that Leo wants to express, and as it wants to connect socially to how it, you know what I'm saying, puts its spotlight on that, you know what I'm saying, how it puts a spotlight on its own dream to be able to bring the spotlight to everybody's dream, you know what I'm saying, is in the home, family, and private life and shit like that, that is, you know what I'm saying, its internal world, that is initiating, creating, leading the feeling and leading the room of emotions of how it conducts a, you know what I'm saying, home, family, and privacy. It's through the dreams, you know what I'm saying, it's through having faith, belief, imagination, and through the delusions of its ego, its character. So that's pretty much, you know what I'm saying, having us consciously aware and think and analyze and communicate on, you know what I'm saying, what we are expanding knowledgeably and wisdom it through our experiences from our home, family, and privacy. You know what I'm saying? Expanding on showing and giving love, value, and appreciation to those internal feelings of home, family, and privacy and shit like that. That internal world of where its dream is to connect to everybody's feelings and connect to everybody's home, family, privacy, as well as having its own be shine a spotlight on for everybody to feel, you know what I'm saying, collectively their dream expressed and shit like that. So pretty much from there, we having a vibration of transformation to, you know what I'm saying, Leo from you know what I'm saying, spiritually Leo's transforming to the spotlight, you know what I'm saying, being put on its dream, faith, belief, and imagination and delusion, you know what I'm saying, from how it's thinking, communicating, and analyzing about these characteristics that it's displaying, and as well as being consciously aware of, you know what I'm saying, viewing different angles and points of how it's characters being seen and shit like that of that nature, to be able to be you know, fixate and sustain a confident and secure ability to be able to be mutable, moldable, and adaptable to it, you know, stabilizing, securing, and making stable, making secure and concrete the ability to have a work health routine pattern in its comfortability and its self-esteem of it being able to feel, you know what I'm saying, passionate and motivated to not be I was about to say to be narcissistic, not to be narcissistic, but to be able to, you know what I'm saying, you know, not to be narcissistic, you know what I'm saying, but to be able to, you know what I'm saying, show a confidence and a, you know what I'm saying, secure circumstance of where its passions and motivations is being directed. So through work health routine patterns, through work health routine and Virgo's analytical ability to analyze and think and practicalize these passions, motivations, and desires and things of that nature that Leo, you know what I'm saying, wants to feel secure and, like I said, self-esteem in is spiritually transforming it, you know what I'm saying, its conscious awareness of its ego and how it's being able to be, you know what I'm saying, I shouldn't say collectively, but I should say, you know what I'm saying, consciously aware of its ability to be able to create an entertainment, self-expression, and a fun likability is gonna be it. It's gonna be like, you know what I'm saying, it thinking, communicating, and analyzing its spiritual transformation to Virgo's vibration that it's transforming for Leo to be able to have to play out the dream through Leo and through it being his 12th house, how it dreams, has faith, belief, and imagination and shit is through having that ego, being able to be, you know, balanced out and even and being self-sustainable, being in a confident, in a, you know what I'm saying, in a more fixated, sustained, mutable, moldable, and adaptable way of feeling comfortable, safe, secure, and as well as motivated, passionate, and fulfilling its desires. You know what I'm saying? Through that ability is basically, you know what I'm saying, you seeing it having to, everybody's ego having to put in work right now with how we feel, you know what I'm saying, self-sufficient, how we feel confident and motherfucking self-esteem in these times. So that we're going through, you know, this Leo season, we're having to be consciously aware of that shit. You know what I'm saying? We're having to be spiritually transforming how we're consciously aware of our ego and how we've had fun, express our self-expression and entertainment, how we, you know what I'm saying, as well is spiritually transforming. From that is how we gonna be, you know what I'm saying, having a vibration of transformation through having the second house from Leo be comfortable in that safe, secure self-esteem of us building upon practicality and thinking and in reality of how the fuck we're going to be able to direct those non-narcissistic, more, you know what I'm saying, leading the confidence and the passion and motivation of one's own self-expression to be able to inspire and to expand others, as well as, you know what I'm saying, help feel comfortable, safe, and secure with the South Node, you know what I'm saying, putting in that work health routine patterns with that, you know what I'm saying, safe, or that, you know what I'm saying, I keep saying safety, but that self-esteem and shit, that second house from Leo. So pretty much that's how we're vibrationally transforming, you know what I'm saying, from there, you know what I'm saying, we got Scorpio, you know what I'm saying, and Lilith transforming spiritually, 12th house from Sagittarius, being able to fixate and sustain the embarrassment, you know what I'm saying, the deep desire, or, you know what I'm saying, first emotional connections that we had with our desires, passions, secrets, we are sex, death, and rebirth transformation energies, with Scorpio it being like, you know what I'm saying, the power and control of kind of how, you know what I'm saying, society is, you know what I'm saying, is ran and shit like that, through not really just secrecy, but through the you know what I'm saying, through the behind the scenes, in the dark type, you know, shadowistic version of, you know, the narcissistic season and shit like that. This is the fixed sign of death season. So it's wanting to spiritually transform in a way of deep passions, deep motivations, deep emotions and desires of that, you know what I'm saying, first embarrassment, first seated, deep rooted, seated desire and emotion and fixated, sustained emotion to be more mutable, more moldable, and more adaptable to how Sagittarius 12th house, you know what I'm saying, dreams from its, you know, Scorpio being 12th house from it, to Sagittarius, you know what I'm saying, having to be the foundation and shit for the transformation, for the vibration of the transformation of that deep rooted, seated embarrassment, desire, of that emotion, of that passion, motivation, and, you know what I'm saying, desire, or whatever the case, you know, that scorpionic nature, that deep, you know, real powerful, but deep rooted, you know what I'm saying, fixated, sustained emotion and shit. So Sagittarius is upbringing that and spiritually transforming that right now. Spiritually transforming that Lilith, you know, the desires of the embarrassment, of the first connections, of those secrecies, of the, you know what I'm saying, or the most embarrassing emotions of that first exposed emotion of Lilith. You know what I'm saying? Not really like I said, embarrassing, but not really so just embarrassing, but more of exposed and vulnerable emotion of Lilith, being more of the showing in the passions, motivations, desires, and shit like that of Scorpio, because it's really, Scorpio's not just, it's not really embarrassed so much as it more as it is to wanting to be, you know, have power over things. So it's not really just like Scorpio cares about the embarrassment, but it cares more about having put in work and shit, having the ability to have the, you know what I'm saying, passion, motivation, and desire connected with its power and shit, with how it can, you know, have a secret, have a passion, motivation, and shit. It wants to share in its energy, put in its, you know, its fixated, sustained energy of how it can foundate that. So that's more of why, you know, that's more of Scorpio wanting to transform spiritually through, you know what I'm saying, from its being 12th house Sagittarius, second house from Scorpio Sagittarius, is fixating, sustaining its mutable, moldable, and adaptable like ability to be able to have that self-esteem, and it to be able to, you know what I'm saying, right now have a reaction response to what we emotionally are connecting to, emotionally building a connection to our spirituality, our experiences, wisdom, and knowledge through how we, you know, basically can go through an astral travel, or I should say more of a metaphysical travel, because that's what astral is. Metaphysical is, you know what I'm saying, it's the mind. So dealing with how it self sustains and fixates and vibrationally transforms is through Sagittarius being in the moon right now. So right now, how we react and responding and creating an emotional connection is through helping, you know what I'm saying, build that confidence and that, excuse me, self-sustaining fixation of its own ability to feel comfortable, safe, and secure within vibrationally transforming in a way of creating an emotional connection with that mental and metaphysical travel of how it can, you know what I'm saying, transform through experiences and through wisdom and knowledge and shit like that. So that's how pretty much, you know what I'm saying, the vibration of our passions, motivations, desires, secrecy, and deep-rooted, fixated and sustained emotions wanting to be spiritually transformed right now. It's going to be through fixating, sustaining right now, you know what I'm saying? Sagittarius being in the moon, like I said, connecting us to that experience of fluidity, experience of going through an experience and having to come out with a new wisdom and not in light of a knowledge that we can be able to shine upon others and be able to reflect and refract of what, you know what I'm saying, of what we all can, you know what I'm saying, fluidly interact with, you know what I'm saying, not just a its own light, but it's sharing with the collective of, you know what I'm saying, experiences, wisdom, and knowledge that it could be able to, you know, vibrationally transform through right now. So that's basically how the fuck, you know what I'm saying, Scorpio is vibrationally transforming, spiritually transforming Sagittarius, you know what I'm saying, through its dreams, faith, belief, and imagination being played out through that deep-rooted, seated emotion, passion, desire, and secrecy with the, you know, embarrassment, first vulnerable connection with the fixated and sustained, mutable, having to be mutable, modal, and adaptable with that energy that is being able to share its dream with the collective to be able to, you know what I'm saying, vibe from the vibration that it transforms Scorpio through, so it can spiritually transform back through the dreams, faith, belief, imagination, and delusion of the vulnerability and desire and shit like that. So pretty much how it's, you know what I'm saying, playing out right now with Scorpio being in Lulu. So from there, pretty much, vibrationally, we're transforming in our, you know what I'm saying, associations in the public, taking power, control over those things, fixating, sustaining, over fixating, sustaining our associates in the public, making it unique and individual to us, and how we are being able to, you know what I'm saying, put into play our own individual associations with the public, you know what I'm saying, transform and take power and control over the public. Through that, we're being able to see it transform spiritually from our ability to have a dream, faith, belief, and imagination, delusion, fantasy, like, you know what I'm saying, mutable, modal, and adaptable ability to fixate and sustain a comfortableness, a self sustainability of confident and self-esteem for the dream to play out through the collective. You know what I'm saying? For the vibration that spiritually we want to transform from our associates taking power and control through that, and how we are individual and unique, and being able to create a you know what I'm saying, unique society in public through changing how we're taking power and control through our associates and shit like that, and integrating into the public, transforming that vibration through Pisces, the North Node being in the destiny of the collective of our associates, the public, having to have that self-sustainable confidence of the self-esteem and shit that we're gonna be needing to spiritually transform, you know what I'm saying, from the dream, faith, belief, and imagination in the destiny of how the collective is going to be having a, you know what I'm saying, spiritually, you know what I'm saying, have a vibrational transformation. Spiritually, Pisces 12th house is, you know what I'm saying, Aquarius. So we're going to have to, you know what I'm saying, fixate and sustain our dream, faith, belief, and imagination, um, delusion, fantasy like abilities from our destiny, have gone on that destiny and that path to be able to do that, to be able to Pluto and Aquarius transform society in a dream-like, collective dream, faith, belief, imagination, delusion, fantasy, and be able to be moldable, mutable, and adaptable through society with that. You know what I'm saying? Dream, faith, belief, imagination, fantasy, and shit like that. So that we could be able to take, you know what I'm saying, the dream that Pisces wants to spiritually transform and shit like that, from that spiritual transformation that Pisces is going through Aquarius, to feel more confident with how the fuck it's going to work and put in the work play aspect of self sustainability and self-esteem with that dream, faith, imagination, belief, and, you know what I'm saying, dream, faith, imagination, belief, delusion, energy, to be able to, you know what I'm saying, collectively expand that dream, faith, belief, imagination, delusion amongst how it's being able to spiritually transform. That's how it's going to be able to spiritually transform. It's through the public. You know what I'm saying? It's through taking power and control over associations, associates, and the public, having everybody's dream integrate with the whole, you know what I'm saying, collective dreams. Everybody's dream being able to be shared amongst their associations and shit like that. Being able to be shared amongst how their group wants to be seen and shit like that. And how Pisces, you know what I'm saying, imagination wants to be felt and wants to be expressed and shit. So that's gonna be through the public and shit. So and that leads us right back to where we began it, and that's through vibrationally transforming through Aries. You know what I'm saying? The start of this shit. So frequency of creation. You know what I'm saying? So this is, we just went through semi-sextiles, you know what I'm saying, conjunctions. Now we're on to sextiles. You know what I'm saying? This is the 11th house, 3rd house aspect of the of basically the sextiles of how our frequency is created. The 3rd house, you know what I'm saying, is putting into play and helping us, lead us to the expansion and the creation of the celestial embodiments and shit like that. So that's the 11th house. You know what I'm saying? The associations, associates, and the public that we fixate and sustain. From being mutable and adaptable to our frequency to creating our environment. It's how we're going to be able to fixate and sustain the celestial creations of our associations, associates, in the public arena that we're in. So, like I said, moving on to that, Aries being 11th house from Gemini, and it being in Chiron, it being in Saturn, and it being in Neptune, we're going to be able to see how our, you know what I'm saying, ability to personally transform and have ability to birth in reality, initiate and create, aka onto how we are be able to, you know what I'm saying, heal and transform that pain and suffering into growth, and transform that dream, faith, belief, and imagination and fantasy into something that is able to be personally that we were personally interested in, personally expressed as a expansion of our, you know what I'm saying, personality, and expansion of our first house rulers, like I said, or our first house, you know what I'm saying, chart rulers, to be able to as well as Aries placements to be able to have the, you know what I'm saying, spark and the fiery warrior like ability to add on to the collective, to add on to the fixated and sustained transformation of where we want to see these personal interests and of our values be directed and actually foundated, from Saturn being in Aries to, you know what I'm saying, to foundate that, you know what I'm saying, groundedness of how we can build on the reality of our interests, personal interests, how we can then, you know what I'm saying, move that to how we are healing from the pain, suffering that we may have went through, or may have, you know what I'm saying, currently still going through with that personal interest or value and shit like that we you know, may have had a fall in or whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying. We're gonna be able to create and, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna be able to, like I said, initiate and create a dream, faith, belief, imagination, delusion as well, you know what I'm saying, with that fixated sustaination of the public, you know what I'm saying, our associates, and integrating that to the public with how the fuck we are, you know what I'm saying, creating onto society, how the fuck we are creating onto, you know what I'm saying, Saturn, you know what I'm saying, how we're creating onto Neptune and transforming from Chiron to be able to, like I said earlier, create that, fixate and sustain that association of the celestial creation that we are bonding together with, and create, you know what I'm saying, help be mutable, modal, and adaptable to create that frequency of creation, so Gemini can help us, you know, be an individual, unique, and circumstance the frequency of creation that we are, you know what I'm saying, being able to integrate in our immediate environment, from how the fuck we are being able to be moldable, mutable, and adaptable to how we individually think, in innovating in a more unique way to have, you see what I'm saying, a more integrative, interconnected mentality when it comes to how we are being able to be mutable, modal, and adaptable, and be fluid through these Aries, you know, Aries energies that we're gonna have to be going through and shit like that. So like I said, the frequency of creation and shit is helping us be able to add on to think our individual unique thoughts and individualize our own abilities to make unique to us and fluid to us how the fuck we're initiating, creating, fixating, sustaining our reality of our personal interests, being able to be amongst our celestial creations, and how the fuck we build on reality with that, and how the fuck we build on dreams, faith, belief, imagination, delusion, fantasies with that, and how the fuck we transform from our suffering, healing, and our pain to healing and growth. You know what I'm saying? So that's, you know what I'm saying, basically gonna be playing out how we're gonna be playing out the frequency of creation, of what we put our mind on and shit like that, and Uranus and Gemini, how we're directing our mental magic to our environment to create a frequency of our personal interests of value, to be able to add on to the collective of the celestial creations that we're, you know what I'm saying, being able to fixate and sustain. So moving on from there, frequency of creation, Cancer being in Jupiter and being in Venus right now, us having the ability to initiate and create emotions in the internal world, dealing with the home, family, and privacy, going through experiences, wisdom and knowledge with that, showing love, value, and appreciation with that. We're also going to be able to be, adding on to the celestial creations with that through the frequency of creation through, you see what I'm saying, Virgo. So Virgo is Cancer's third house in itself, and it's going to be able to, be mutable, modal, and adaptable to help the frequency of creation of the frequency of creation of the fixating, not fixating, sustaining, but being moldable, mutable, and adaptable, and being able to feel comfortable, safe, and secure in the work health routine patterns of how we able to think, communicate, and you see what I'm saying, create a frequency of creation with that motivation, passion, and desire and shit like that. Is helping us build on to that, home, family, and privacy of how we experience and share the wisdom, knowledge, and experience through our home, family, and privacy to create add on to our celestial creations and shit like that, of our giving love, value, and appreciation, showing that as well. You know what I'm saying? That, pretty much helping us, move on from the narcissistic energies to more of a collective you see what I'm saying, self-esteem and shit like that, to how the fuck we are initiating our feelings and our emotions through our home, family, and privacy and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, basically, that's how we celestially, celestial creating from our frequency of creation right there. Adding on to Virgo, you know what I'm saying, to that frequency of creation, how the fuck we are celestially creating onto the our work health routine patterns and shit, like right now. Basically, we're being moldable, mutable, adaptable to how the fuck we be moldable, mutable, and adaptable to how the fuck we are celestially creating and adding on to our work health, our associations in the public, adding on to that from the work health routine pattern, being able to be seen as a comfortability and a motivation and a passion and a desire that we want it to be analytical and structure and practical right now with how the fuck we are celestially creating our in amongst the public and shit, and our associates and amongst the public, so the frequency that's gonna help with that frequency of creation is gonna help with that is pretty much Scorpio being in Lilith, how the fuck we are embarrassed, desire, have embarrassment, desire, or whatever the fuck we're dealing with, how the fuck desires and deep rooted seated emotions of fixated sustain and our fixated sustainability to be able to have a secret passion, motivation, desire, shit like that. It's pretty much helping us build that frequency of creation of, being fluidable and shit like that. I don't know why I keep saying these fluidity words and shit, but it's flows and I like to say it. So, it's kind of like what we going into and shit. So dealing with that frequency of creation with the Scorpio energy and shit right now, being in Lilith, it's helping us add on to the fluidity of the mental magic that we're laying out, our frequency being able to be created in our environment, to be able to have a celestial creation of what the fuck we want to have, want to be moldable, mutable, and adaptable to be able to fixate, sustain in our celestial creation. So the work health routines, the patterns that we want to be moldable, mutable, and adaptable to be able to have a passion, motivation, and desire in these, work health routine patterns, and be able to feel comfortable, safe, and secure within that, is having us be able to, create amongst our celestials, create amongst the public and our association and associates that we are connected and clicked up with, and things of that nature. So the frequency of creation from there, pretty much Sagittarius being in the moon right now, we have to responding to, you know what I'm saying, our emotional connection with our experiences, wisdom, and knowledge, and how we can fixate and sustain amongst the celestial creations right now. Our associations, associates, in the public is being mutable, moldable, and adaptable through our experiences, wisdom, and knowledge, and how we can, and how we react and respond, and how we you know what I'm saying, create an emotional connection with how we react and respond. Pretty much is how we are foundating that sustenance for the gateway of the frequency of creation being able to be displayed through, you know what I'm saying, the third house dynamic from the ninth house, the mind magic of our ability to think, communicate, and create a frequency in our environment of our associations, associates in the public, being fixated and sustaining how the fuck we can, you know what I'm saying, take power and control over our associations, associates in the public. You know what I'm saying? That's our frequency that we creating to be able to add on to how we can be moldable, mutable, and adaptable to how we emotionally are connected, or how we create emotional connection to fixate and sustaining amongst the celestial creations, amongst our associations, associates in the public, to be able to see all our wisdom, knowledge, and experiences, how we can, you know what I'm saying, how we emotionally connect with that, you know what I'm saying? So that frequency of us, you know what I'm saying, being able to have mind magic, be moldable, mutable, adaptable to how the fuck we taking over our associations, associates in the public, you know what I'm saying, however we taking power and control, excuse me, you know what I'm saying, it's pretty much how the fuck, you know what I'm saying, we showing that through expressing our emotions and of connecting through our experience of wisdom and knowledge and the public and celestial creations. So frequency of creation from there, pretty much a set Aquarius being in Pluto and shit like right now. So 11th house from Aries. Ooh, shit. It felt good. Alright. Hey, it's morning time. I be up all fucking night, boy. But yeah, like I said, that shit, being able to be what, you know what I'm saying, 11th house from Aries is being displayed as its celestial, what is celestially creating and shit like that. Helping from the association, the associates that we trying to take power and control over and shit like that. More like integrate and shit like that, to not sound as narcissistic or whatever. The frequency of creation from how the fuck we are building our reality, like I said, with that Aries being Saturn, with that Neptune being Saturn, us having a dream, faith, belief, and imagination with our personal interests and values and shit like that, and our Chiron going through the growth and healing of that pain, suffering aspect of our personal interests and value and what the fuck we value from our personal ability to, you know what I'm saying, be interested in what the fuck we like, you know what I'm saying, personally, you know what I'm saying. So is pretty much showing how the fuck our frequency of creation is being able to, you know, have the mind magic to be able to create onto our environment, in our immediate environment, to be able to see, you know, how the fuck we can do, how we can create better associations and celestial creations, add on to the public, and integrate that power control that we're trying to take on to be having, you know, have a healthy public arena and shit that we able to share our associations and associates with. So adding on to that celestial creation of, you know what I'm saying, Aquarius being able to have that power of, you know what I'm saying, of community, have that power of being a unique individual in the community. You know what I'm saying? Also Aries with that new energy being new. You know what I'm saying? Having the newness and the likeness of birthing something into reality. So that being our frequency of creation that we're helping add on to the celestial creations of our public arena and associations, associates in the public and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? From there, pretty much the experience of emotion. So right now we on the squares, right? So 10th house, 4th house aspect right here is dealing with, home, family, privacy, security, safety, and stability, dealing with our status, career, and business, endeavors and shit like that. So that's pretty much what squares is all about. It's all about learning. It's all about our internal creating, how the fuck we initiate and create, as well as our internal stabilizing and stability, having stability and security and safety, to practicality and how the fuck we initiate shit, to practicalizing how the fuck we initiate earth-like statuses, businesses, and careers. So taking your home on the go, you know what I'm saying? Right? So kind of how I see Capricorn, because wherever your heart is where your home, where you feel at home at. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you feel private, wherever you feel secure, dealing with your emotions, wherever you feel safe, dealing with your creating emotions with your home, internal world, internal home and shit like that, is outside. And it's, you know what I'm saying, the internal world, dealing with the earth aspect as well, being an initiating creative, being a masculine, more, you know what I'm saying, in that aspect, even though it's feminine, earth is feminine, being an initiating creator of what the fuck the physical experience is gonna be like. So emotionally, we're experiencing you know what I'm saying, Aries going through, you know what I'm saying, experience of emotion, 4th house of Cancer, growing through the experience, wisdom, and knowledge of Jupiter, and showing love, value, and appreciation in Venus. And so Aries right now, 4th house, is going through the expansion and wisdom, knowledge, and experiences of how it can initiate better emotions, dealing with this initiating and creating leading emotions, dealing with home, family, and privacy and shit. Also, as well as initiate and create emotions, dealing with love, value. I mean, you know what I'm saying, with experience, wisdom, and knowledge, is initiating, creating emotions, dealing with that, as well as initiating, creating emotions, dealing with the value, showing love and appreciation to that thing, you know what I'm saying, that aspect of that emotion, or whatever the case that Aries is creating. You know what I'm saying? Aries is having fun with you know what I'm saying, the privacy and the home, family, and private life of experiencing, going through wisdom, you know what I'm saying, experiences, going through, you know what I'm saying, learning how to better know things, and through its, you know what I'm saying, intuition, and its feelings of its, how it initiates and creates emotions, and being able to, you know, share and being relatable with the ability to show love, value, and appreciation for that too. You know what I'm saying? So emotionally, that's what it's experiencing, right? So it's being the physical experience and foundator for Cancer, you know what I'm saying, being You know what I'm saying? Aries being Cancer's 10th house, so Aries is having, you know, a physical experience, aka Cancer's creating, you know, helping to create the emotional experience to create a physical experience through Aries. It's status, business, career, what it can you know what I'm saying, physically experience through is initiating and creating a personal interest. So that's where it can find out and how it can see build on reality, you know what I'm saying, in a business career and a status right now through personal interest of and value of, you know, dreams, faith, belief, imagination, delusions, of building on the harsh reality of its personal interests and values, and building on the, you know, growth factor and the ability to grow, expand, and transform that pain and suffering, and maybe into a healing aspect, into, you know what I'm saying, a freeing, um, um, you know what I'm saying, fluid aspect to show, you know what I'm saying, a home on the go. So this is 10th house from Cancer, you know what I'm saying, having the physical experience of shit to be able to have a career status or business in this thing. So, you know what I'm saying? Diggity thing, you feel me? Experience of emotion from there pretty much gonna be Gemini, you know what I'm saying? And Uranus, being the physical experience, pretty much being multiple, mutable, adaptable, like I said, you know what I'm saying? For its mind magic to have the ability to create a frequency or shit like that, and foundate the initiating and creating of a business, of a career, of a status and shit like that. It's from 10th house from Virgo being able to fourth house from Gemini, express that emotion of experience of having a comfortable, a safe and secure mental, an analytical, practical ability to be able to, you know, have that passion, motivation, and desire be put into a work health routine pattern of, you know what I'm saying, excuse me, of home, family, and privacy. So home, family, and privacy of Gemini pretty much is Virgo. So you see that right there. That's where it wants to initiate and create its emotions. That's where it wants to, you know what I'm saying, feel at home, and it's private. It's with this dealing with its own analytical ability to think, practicalize, and analyze the situation to it's from its work health routine patterns of the passion, motivation, and desire, shit like that, how it feels comfortable, safe, and secure with the South Node there as well, you know, in Mars and shit, having it be able to, you know what I'm saying, experience an emotion. That's where it's experiencing emotion. So from there, Virgo, you know what I'm saying, pretty much is being able to, it's physically experience through Gemini. It's being able to physically experience having the mind mental magic of having a status, a career, and a business through ability to, you know what I'm saying, be initiate and create onto its unique and individual ideologies and philosophies that it can add into, you know what I'm saying, the uniqueness of its mind, you know what I'm saying, so that it can add into the uniqueness of its ability to physically experience a status, career, or business that it could, you know, 10th house from Virgo, be able to put into play a practical, and, or I guess you could say more of a rational ideology of those philosophies and things of that nature. So of how it can, you know, think, or how it can, you know, think, communicate, and fucking Yeah, they communicate and create a frequency in this environment, you know what I'm saying, through initiating creating a status, a business, and a career. And that's pretty much, you know what I'm saying, making it unique and individual. Gonna have to be gonna be having to making it unique and individual. My girl just pulled up, scared the fuck out of me. Cause the fucking thing said ring. Oh, turned on real quick, boy. But yeah, came from work and shit. I'm glad to hear she here and shit like this. So that's, you know what I'm saying, dealing with that on the go home, that on the go, you know, creating a on the go business, career, and status, you know what I'm saying, through the connectiveness of the mental magic of Gemini being able to have Virgo as his home, family, and privacy. Is gonna be able to connect through, you know what I'm saying. Gem is gonna be able to connect through 10th house from Virgo to Gemini, having that mental magic of being unique and individual with the, you know what I'm saying, innovating in the mental magic of, you know what I'm saying, creating a frequency in its environment and having a status, business, and career that can make out of that shit. You feel me? So pretty much from there, what's up, baby? Pretty much from there, yeah, Leo being the, I don't know why I did that. Oh yeah, I'm sure. Okay, Leo being the physical experience, pretty much for the emotion of experience through Scorpio. What, you know, fixating, sustaining Leo is that fixed fire of having this, you know, self-expression and creativity and entertainment like ability to have the spotlight on it, you know what I'm saying, from the sun being there right now and Mercury being there right now. It has the ability from, you know, Scorpio 10th house to from Scorpio is Leo, so that's pretty much establishing the connectivity of how the fuck it is able to, you know what I'm saying, constantly be aware of where it can have a status, career, and business and constantly be aware of how it can think, or not really just constantly, but, you know, mentally be aware of how it thinks, communicates, and analyzes through its self-expressionatory aspect of entertainment, self-expression, and fun, childlike ability to, you know what I'm saying, how to spotlight put in that business, entertainment, I mean, not business, entertainment, but business, career, and status to, you know what I'm saying, have that on the go home from Leo. Leo's home being 4th house from it is Scorpio, so it feels home, you know what I'm saying, is secrets, it's deep desires, it's passions, motivation of its own fun aspect of, that's where it feels, you know what I'm saying, its self-expression can be private and can feel at home and could feel, you know what I'm saying, it could feel, you know what I'm saying, an emotion, an experience, and an emotion, you know what I'm saying, of is in its own deep rooted desires of emotion and passion, motivation, you know, desire of that Lilith being there, Scorpio being a Lilith, you know what I'm saying, it's wanting to you know, initiate and create an emotion of a home, family, and privacy within that deep-rooted embarrassment and desire of that secret passion, motivation, and desire. Create its own emotions with how it feels with that shadow self of, you know, the what it is might be seen as in its you know, secrets, desires, and passions have created its own emotions at home, you know, family and privacy in that area and shit like that. So that's pretty much how the flow of the emotion with Leo, it goes and shit with this home and how it feels, comfortable with that, gonna be having to be transformed through the status of Scorpio being Leo. So the status and career and the business that Scorpio gonna want to foundate and gonna want to initiate and create from from that emotion of experience from Leo is gonna be to create that career, business, and status out of that. Create a career, business, status out of fixating, sustaining, and a self-expression, entertainment, a childlike, spotlight ability to be able to shine a light on that conscious awareness of where it sees its actions and its viewpoints of how it can display that status, career, business, and its connecting, or thinking, analytical, and communicating ability to establish that status, business, and career, and things of that nature. So, and that's like, what I'm saying, how it wants to initiate its status, career, and a business. How it wants to go on the go with that business and that emotion of that, that deep rooted desire and shit of Scorpio wants to go 10th house, be seen as all out spotlight. Leo wants to be, all out of roaring fire on stage and in the spotlight of its own status, passion, or let's just say passions, because Capricorn is exalted in Mars. You know what I'm saying? Passions, desires of its business, career, and business, career, and status, basically. Yeah. So emotion of experience pretty much from there. Virgo, being in the South Node, being in Mars, it's 10th house from from Sag. So it wants to have its home, family, and privacy in Sag. It wants to initiate and create its emotions and how it feels at home and how it feels comfortable, safe, and secure within its own emotions that it creates is through experience, wisdom, and knowledges. So what I'm saying, with Sagittarius being in the full moon right now, or I said full moon, excuse me, in the moon right now, is being able to be, you create emotion with that right now. So, but going back to Virgo, that's where we're being mutable, modal, and adaptable to our comfortability with how we in the South Node and in Mars right now are being able to be passionate and motivated with how the fuck we are mutable, modal, and adaptable to what what helps us have a work health routine pattern. So, that's where Sagittarius business is at. Sagittarius business with its status, career, and desire is in Virgo. It's at home. I mean, it's on the go with this home feeling, with this initiating its career, status, and business, with how its mind is mutable, modal, and adaptable to how the fuck it sees work health routine pattern. How it's want to be seen as its status, career, business is how it puts in the analytical ability to analyze a situation practically and foundate a circumstance to be, feel safe, secure, and stable. Safe, secure, and stability. You know what I'm saying? So through motivation, passion, desire right now, because Virgo is going through, let's just say Mars is going through Virgo, but and South Node as well. So through feeling comfortable, safe, secure, is gonna want to show a lot of fiery passion, motivation, desire by having to, having to maneuver through that Virgo status in 10th house, like exalted in Mars type aspect of why, it wants to practically analyze this ability to think and communicate, or think and analyze about this comfortability and about this, this status, career, and business. You see what I'm saying? So that pretty much is how, on the home of Virgo, of the emotion of experience is going to be playing out the physical experience. You know what I'm saying? The emotion of experience It's gonna be playing out through being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to one's own visions of its metaphysical travel, of its spirits, of its experiences, wisdom, and knowledges. But you know what I'm saying, connecting it through the moon, having an experience of emotion, since Sagittarius is there right now, having an experience of reacting and responding to that thing. So, which would be, it's internal um, creation of its emotions, its internal home, family, and privacy. So from there, moving on, pretty much Scorpio being the physical experience for Aquarius, its 10th house from Aquarius is gonna be wanting to be seen in a status and a business and a career of having to be vulnerable, and you know what I'm saying, having to be having to feel like practical, and having to fixate and sustain a emotion of deep rooted desire in that, status, business, and career, from how it secrets, desires, and passions and shit like that is wanting to be seen. Is also gonna experience an emotion from that physical experience of having to be, you know what I'm saying, public and be displayed amongst his associates in the public arena, and how it takes power and control over that. You know what I'm saying, and that's where Scorpio is home at, is co-ruler at, and Aquarius is there right now. So that's pretty much where it's home at. Scorpio feels home in having to transform society and take power and control over its associations, and feels like that's where its home, family, and privacy is at right now. Feels like that's where it can initiate all its emotions, and how it can create its, you know what I'm saying, internal home right now is through building up ways on how to fixate and sustain, being able to initiate and create a home, family, and privacy amongst the associates, and the public arena of how it takes power and control. So the physical experience from there, you know what I'm saying, of how it takes power and control, is going to lead Aquarius to be able to initiate and sustain a status within fixating and sustaining, initiating, create, I should say, a status, business, and career, and through fixating and sustaining that, emotion of and that physical experience from that emotion. So it's physically going to be experiencing deep emotional rooted desires, passions, and shit like that, in having to have a business, a status, a career, and shit like that, and having to feel vulnerable, with Lilith being in Scorpio right there, having to feel you know what I'm saying, exposed more than anything, because that's where you're gonna have to make your vulnerability to your ego, for especially Aquarius, because that's his, balance of power, the ego, or its character in itself. So it's dynamic right there. It's kind of, you know what I'm saying, like the 10th house from Aquarius is gonna be like its status, career, and business. So dealing with, how the fuck it feels vulnerable with its desires, secrets, and passions, and motivations, and what motivates it to fixate and sustain deep-rooted emotions. So that's the physical experience that pretty much gonna be experiencing, going through the emotion of the experience from Aquarius. So, you know what I'm saying? Sagittarius, moving on from there, the emotion of experience, 10th house from Pisces is going to be having it, you know what I'm saying, being in the moon right there, reacting and responding to how we're emotionally connecting to our wisdom, knowledge, and experiences, being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to that shit. Is going to want to try to initiate and create a status and a business and a career for Pisces to be able to, physically experience that through Sagittarius emotionally having experience through Pisces of, being in the North Node or being his destiny, being his home, family, and privacy right now is dream, faith, belief, and imagination being expressed as his destiny. So his destiny is to create a home, family, and privacy, and initiate an internal world right now. Of how the fuck Pisces dream, faith, belief, and imagination is being mutable, modal, and adaptable to that. Home, family, and privacy is the experience of how we experience our emotion right now. How we experiencing emotion is through, our dream, faith, being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to the dream, faith, belief, imagination, delusion of our destiny. So, and that's pretty much for Sag right now, and how the fuck its fourth house is, and how the fuck its fourth house is being expressed as a, pretty much emotion of experience is destiny. So it's right now Sagittarius' emotion of experience is its destiny. You see what I'm saying? Is it's having to go through a spiritual transformation dealing with its home, family, and privacy. So, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be having to. That's where our emotion of experience is collectively as from our Sag perspective right now. Fourth house from Sag is Cancer. So regardless, we all experiencing this, but with Sag being in the moon right now, it's reacting, responding to this as well. So that's where Cancer home at, fourth house home, and reacting, responding, and creating an emotional connection with that home, family, with that business, career, status, I should say, from that experience of emotion that it wants to take on a go to, to the public and shit like that. So Pisces is having a physical experience in Sag through it having, creating a emotion of experience through the moon being in Sag right now. Is wanting to initiate and create, being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to one's own visions and others of experience, wisdom, and knowledge through creating, adding on to that emotion of creating an emotion and reacting, responding to it, to be able to, foundate and practicalize its initiating and creative ability to own a status, business, and a career. So that's how the fuck we're physically experiencing right now our dreams, faith, belief, imagination, delusion. And where the fuck it wants to be physically experienced there right now is connecting emotionally, reacting, responding, and being fluidable and mutable, moldable, and adaptable to one's own visions of its experience, wisdom, and knowledge, and how it travels through that and shit, as well as others. You know what I'm saying? So, moving on from that, experience or emotion. But, I'm very sorry. Pisces being 10th house from Gemini is pretty much where it's going to be experienced. We're going to experience our physical experience for Gemini to how we want to initiate and create a status, business, and career is going to be through our dreams, faith, and belief, and imagination, right? Being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to our own dream, faith, belief, imagination, as well as others. So how the fuck Pisces is going to feel at home, you know what I'm saying, and feel the emotional experience through that is Gemini being connected through one's own individual mind magic and one's own unique way of going about being mutable, moldable, and adaptable to its creating a frequency in its own environment. So Pisces is going to want to feel at home and feel the privacy, home, family, and privacy connected in Gemini, fourth house, Gemini fourth house with Pisces in its internal home. Its mind in the way it thinks, communicates, and moldable, mutable, and adaptable to its immediate environment. It's mind magic of how it, you know, is mutable, moldable, and adaptable to add a frequency, create on a frequency in its environment of ideologies, philosophies, shit like that. Is its home, is its internal world of what the fuck is home, family, and privacy for it. What the fuck is it's experiencing an emotion of. So it's experiencing an emotion of having to be unique and individual with these thoughts, having to be unique and individual with how the fuck is being, you know, how it feels at home with the you know, mind magic of its internal home. So moving from there, you know, Gemini being Pisces fourth house, Pisces 10th house from Gemini is gonna be how we're physically experiencing this emotion of experience through Gemini mind magic. Fourth house from Pisces having to be unique and individual to the ideologies and the philosophies and thoughts that we, you know, wanting to be mutable, moldable, and adaptable to create a frequency within our environment and shit like that. They're gonna have to be, you know, physical experience for that. So through Pisces from 10th house from Gemini is how Gemini's career status and business is wanting to be, you know, be seen and wanting to be built on, initiated, and created right now, and be mutable by being mutable, moldable, and adaptable, having a very physical experience of being mutable, moldable, and adaptable to its dream, faith, belief, and imagination, and delusion of its destiny. So Gemini's destiny right now, Gemini's 10th house is its destiny right now. Gemini's 10th house is Pisces, right? Going through the mutable, moldable, and adaptable, like ability to have to you know, be mutable, moldable, adaptable to others' dreams, faith, belief, imagination, delusions, as well as one's own, is how Gemini is wanting to foundate its initiating, creating its status, business, and career right now. How it's wanting to be, you know, physically experiencing shit right now. So physically, you know, the reality of Gemini and how our mind magic is gonna, you know, be playing in that dynamic with the, you know, Pisces and their dream, faith, belief, and imagination and shit, and the collective and shit right now is 10th house from it. So wanting to have it be seen as that's where it puts in work and it practicalizes its ability to have you know, initiate and create, you know, status and a career with that destiny of it having a dream, faith, belief, and imagination. You know what I'm saying? So that destiny is bringing it to a point of a physical experience of it having to initiate and create a status with that, you know what I'm saying, with that dream, faith, belief, imagination. Like I've been saying, so that's gonna be everybody's physical experience though, from how we're able to, you know, creating a frequency of our creation is, and you know what I'm saying, is being played out from Pisces through how that's its home, that's where it feels vulnerable, that's where it not feels vulnerable, but you know, that's where it feels home and private and feels comfortable and secure to initiate and create emotions within that, to lead its emotions within that. So is having Gemini being able to, you know, feel passionate and practical with its status and its physical experience when it comes to how it wants to create a business and a career, with dreams, faith, belief, and imagination being its destiny. See what I'm saying? Being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to one's own dreams, faith, belief, and imagination and others is how it pretty much, you know what I'm saying, is initiating creating that status, business, and career. So moving on from there, pretty much it for that. You know what I'm saying? Expression of character, which say we pretty much got more expression of character, uh, uh, experience of emotion, and embodiment of expansion of what we're embodying right now. So more 10th, 4th house, 9th, 5th house, and 8th, 6th house energies right now. And like I was saying, more, and it's crazy how it plays out through that, even through the alignments. You know what I'm saying? Through the squares, trines, and in conjunctions. We're developing our, we should say more of our, not just internal world, but our you know what I'm saying, own nurturing and mother and mature and maternal material, and then father as well, father's breath and shit like that, father's mind, and father's guidance, like ability to be able to not just have a narcissistic parenting skills and abilities and shit like that, but to with Virgo have a healthy work health routine pattern with that, you know what I'm saying, ability and shit like that. Not to be narcissistic, but to be confident and to be a good, you know what I'm saying, growth factor, a growth mechanism of life. So this is life, you know what I'm saying? This is 4th, 5th, and 6th mid-dimensional energies right now, you know what I'm saying? So this is kind of, you know what I'm saying, more of what the energies we going through right now. Expression of character right now is going to be Aries, you know what I'm saying, 9th house from Leo. Leo's 5th house from Aries. How it is seen in its character and how it expresses its character is, you know what I'm saying, through the aspect of Leo. So that's how pretty much Aries initiates a you know what I'm saying, reality, building on reality, since Saturn is there, Neptune's there, and Chiron's there, having its healing and with his suffering, or what, having his pain and suffering with his personal issues and shit like that, having to heal and grow through that with Chiron, having to build on the harsh reality of his personal interests and value and shit like that with the Saturn, and Neptune, beliefs, faiths, and dreams, imagination, and delusions, having to build on to being, mutable, mutable, adaptable, I guess you could say, with that and shit, as well as others, and how its personal interest is being played out in the collective dream, faith, belief, and imagination of others, is pretty much how we're metaphysically traveling right now, and how we're metaphysically, going through the initiation of the fire and shit like that. So this is, the trine is the fire aspect and shit like that. So with Aries being the metaphysical travel for its, expression of a character and shit, its metaphysical travel, Leo's metaphysical travel is Aries, vice versa. So that's pretty much 9th house from Leo is 5th house from Aries, 9th house from Leo, you know what I'm saying? So that all that what we're initiating, creating with Aries and shit, with the healing and growth from the pain and suffering in Chiron, with the building on the harsh reality of its personal issues and personal interests of values and shit like that in the reality, and creating and adding on to dreams, faith, and belief and imagination within its personal interests, values, and issues and shit like that, is pretty much how Leo is having a, you know, metaphysical travel right now, how its character is traveling right now and shit, and how it's having to spiritually be moldable, mutable, and adaptable to those experiences through gaining wisdom and knowledge and shit, like out of that, you know, out of that personal interest and shit like that, having to build on it, having to heal, transform, and grow past the pain and suffering from it, and having to, you know, add on and create more dreams, faith, belief, and imagination with it. So with Leo there, you know, it's having to express the character of Aries right now. It's having to express the character of what the fuck, you know what I'm saying, it wants to be spotlighted on right now. So what it wants to have its spotlight on right now is having a self-expression and experience of having a spotlight of a self-expression and having an experience of being able to self-express itself in its own fun, childlike, and, you know, fiery spotlight of campfire like aspect, feel good aspect of Leo, of it being consciously aware of its actions and its fun, spotlight, passionate, fiery aspect of it being in the sun and in, you know, its fifth house being in the sun right now. It wants to, you know, show that it's pretty much, you know what I'm saying, confident and fixate and sustains what the fuck it has fun and has entertainment and how it self-expresses its childlike ability to be able to have, you know what I'm saying, that spirit, you know what I'm saying, that spiritual spirit to grow past what just the spotlight, not just what the spotlight is, but having fun in general. You know what I'm saying, having a creative outlet in general. So that's where Aries has fun at, is creating, having a creative outlet through its self-expression. Through it wants to express itself however the fuck it wants to express itself. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna have fun through Leo. It's gonna have fun through something that don't give a fuck, something that just don't really, you know what I'm saying? It's not just about the spotlight to Leo. It's about more of having fun. You see what I'm saying? So it's about and with Leo being in the sun right now and it being in Mercury right now, it wants to think, communicate, and analyze about these aspects of how it has fun and entertains itself and expresses the spotlight on its ego and how it's, you know, not trying to be narcissistic, but it's gonna be, you know, confident. It's gonna be secure and it's gonna be, you know what I'm saying, expressive with that fire aspect of Leo being in the sun right now, so it can be able to talk shit too with, you know, how it communicates and shit with this fun expressionatory aspect right now as well. So that's how its character is being expressed right now. That's how its expression of character is playing out. So for Leo, like I said, to get the spotlight off of, you know, whatever is on, but to put it in more of a space of Leo's ninth house being Aries, what is personally interested in, you know what I'm saying, what is personally wants to be initiate and create as far as a metaphysical travel and experience, wisdom, and knowledge, is having building on reality with that, having a dream, faith, belief, and imagination, and delusion, fantasy with that, and creating health, you know, a healing and growth aspect from it, what it had pain and what it had went through with pain and suffering with its personal interest of its metaphysical travels, of its, you know, having to go through that wisdom, knowledge, and experience of its personal issues or its interests and shit like that. So that's pretty much how Leo is having to metaphysically travel right now. You know what I'm saying? It's having to go through its personal issues and its own fire baptism of the initiation and creation of its own personal value, to have to just not just put the spotlight on that, but to metaphysically travel itself and take accountability through how the fuck it wants to be seen and shit. So that when it gets to the spotlight, when it gets to what it wants to, have fun and creativity about, it don't really have to be so careless and shit. It can be more, you know what I'm saying? It can have more fun being, you know what I'm saying? Being well seasoned, like what we would call Sagittarius. So being well experienced and having knowledge and wisdom and shit like that. So of that nature. So it could be, you know what I'm saying, with having to deal with it, whatever the personal issues with healing and growth. It could be having fun with that aspect of metaphysically traveling through, being responsible with how it gains wisdom and knowledge through those experiences of healing and growth, from transforming that from pain and suffering. Having an initiation creation of the power of Aries, it's gonna be, gonna have to make it, responsible and accountable, because that's what the Aries energy is about. It's about leading, it's about leadership, and it's about being relatable with fairness and kindness, but also being stern and passionate with its fire, and how it initiates shit and how it creates shit and brings shit into reality, birth shit into reality. So that's the pretty much, the aspect of how Leo is going to be one of the metaphysically travel right now, having this, you know what I'm saying, it's Aries, ninth house in Chiron, the Neptune, and Saturn right now. You know what I'm saying? So pretty much from there, expression of character, for Cancer is Scorpio. Scorpio is Cancer's fifth house. You know what I'm saying? Cancer's fun, creative, childlike outlet, to be able to feel like a spotlight is put on it, to feel like, you know what I'm saying, from ninth house of Scorpio, Cancer, it's metaphysical travel is creating a home, family, and privacy within, initiating, creating its own home, its own emotions and shit, dealing with the metaphysical travel of it having to nurture and expand and expunge upon its own wisdom, knowledge, faith. All right, yeah, I should say faith, belief, imagination, all that, because Pisces is also is Jupiter's ruler as well. So, whatever the case, you know what I'm saying, Jupiter rules Pisces, or whatever the fuck you want to say, but you know what I'm saying, it is going through experience, wisdom, and knowledge, and love, value, and appreciation of its home, family, and privacy, like ability to be able to initiate and create and feel at home with metaphysically traveling through those things, with expanding on being mutable, modal, and adaptable to how it can metaphysically travel through those things. So if you want to come over here, I got this little doobie and shit, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's gonna have to feel at home with that Sagittarius, like motherfucking ability to travel amongst the, through the astrals and shit. So that's how Scorpio is dealing with this, astral right now. From there, you know what I'm saying, dealing with this metaphysical trial right now. You know what I'm saying? From there, it's Leo, being the metaphysical travel for Sag. Sag expression is Leo's character and shit like that. Fifth house from Leo is how Leo has fun, has it's the spot, feels like the spotlight's put on it, feels creative and has a creative outlet to go through. Is through Sag. It's through wisdom, knowledge, and experiences and shit like that. So that's how the fuck Leo spotlight's gonna be seen. Let's go here, this little doobie right there. how the fuck is water to be seen? You heard this all one more time? Forgot.
Did you cook something on that skillet?
Yeah.
What'd you cook?
So, I had made me a little sandwich after work and shit. Oh. I cooked some bacon on that hoe.
Here you go.
Let me put that up. So, like I said, Sag wants to express his character, or no, not express his character, but express its metaphysical travel through Leo. So how, you know what I'm saying, the moon, how we react and responding right now is gonna want to be through, you know what I'm saying, us having that fifth house expression of from Leo to be able to have a spotlight of how we are emotionally, you know, connecting and reacting and responding to metaphysical travel of our own expression of character. You know what I'm saying, of Leo's expression of character being able to be held, you know what I'm saying, astrally, to be able to, you know, be moldable, mutable, and adaptable to experiences and wisdom and knowledge. So that's how the fuck Leo's having fun right now. Leo's expressing itself through, you know, its home, its fifth house aspect through its own fifth house aspect through Sag and shit, reacting, responding, and creating emotional connection with with its experiences. You know what I'm saying? Vice versa, like I said, Sag wants to expand and shit through Leo by expanding its wisdom, knowledge, and experiences, and how the fuck it is creating an emotional connection with the moon and shit is gonna be having in an aspect of metaphysically traveling through Leo, being in the sun and Mercury, being able to have a conscious awareness of what the fuck we're expanding as far as our creative ability, childlike ability, its own, you know, fun childlike ability to be able to think, connect, think and analyze as well, being able to be moldable, mutable, and adaptable to a sustaination of its fun childlike ability and shit like that to you know what I'm saying, yeah, metaphysically travel. So that's how the fuck Sag is metaphysically traveling, and Leo's expressing his character right now. So you know what I'm saying, moving on from there, Scorpio expressing his character through Pisces. So Pisces being able to, you know what I'm saying, be mutable, modal, and adaptable to a fiery aspect of Leo, of it having, it's wanting to have it fun and its creativity, like abilities through, you know, Pisces, dreams, faith, belief, imagination, and being moldable, mutable, and adaptable with that, is its destiny right now. You know, is what it's going through as far as its path and its destiny right now, because that's what the fuck the collective, you know what I'm saying, is, you know, Pisces is in the North Node, and all our dreams, faith, belief, imagination is what our destiny is on. You know what I'm saying? So Scorpio's fifth house, that's how it's wanting to express itself. Its trine is wanting to express itself as self-expression and a childlike aspect of how it has fun is through dreams, faith, belief, imagination, delusions, and that's its destiny right now. So that's what the fuck Pisces is metaphysically being able to travel through from that expression of character through Scorpio, being able to metaphysically travel through Scorpio through Lilith, you know what I'm saying, and how it's vulnerable, how it feels vulnerable, and shit like that, from its deep-rooted, seated emotions and shit like that. So, you know what I'm saying, it's how it's metaphysically traveling, having a fixated sustaination of its secret desires, passion, and motivations, be its, you know, expansion of how it metaphysically wants to travel and how it wants to gain wisdom, knowledge, and experience to be moldable, mutable, and adaptable with that thing. So, pretty much from there, all right, I'm gonna go to sleep after this. Sagittarius being the expression of character for Aries I'm sorry, Aries being a special character for Sag is where his fifth house is where Sag's fifth house is. And you know what I'm saying? That's where it wants to have fun right now. That's where it wants to express itself creatively and have a spotlight to be able to, you know what I'm saying, feel free at right now, as far as when it comes to feel good energies, and feel, you know what I'm saying, feel like it's, you know what I'm saying, a spotlight is on it by going through, you know what I'm saying, initiating, creating, and expanding upon, um, creating, and you know what I'm saying, fixating, sustaining the ability for it to change pain and suffering into healing and growth, basically, for it to, you know what I'm saying, grow and add on and build on the harsh reality of its personal issues and interests with how it has fun and how it has, you know what I'm saying, a childlike aspect to put its spotlight on itself, how it has a dream, faith, belief, and imagination, and the delusion is being initiated and created with its personal interests, and how the fuck it fixates, sustains, having fun, expressing its character, and, you know, having a childlike aspect of being able to, you know, just be free and flow in the wind with whatever the fuck it wants to travel through and experience a wisdom and knowledge through. You know what I'm saying? So, through Aries, you feel me? So, Aries, like how it's said, you know what I'm saying? In order to feel moldable, mutable, and adaptable, basically, through the moon right now having to be expressing itself as a catalyst for us to react and respond and create an emotional connection with how we are mutable, moldable, and adaptable to our own visions, experiences, wisdom, and knowledges, as well as others. You know what I'm saying? Expression of character from there, pretty much Aquarius having us, you know, be ninth house from Gemini, fifth house from Aquarius. That aspect pretty much showing us that, you know, that dynamic with Uranus, Pluto right now, and how the fuck our mind is individually wanting to be unique from Aquarius's fifth house, being in Uranus and Gemini. It wants to fixate and sustain itself and have fun with creative like abilities with its mind, and how it has ideologies and creates philosophies and things of that nature through how the fuck it's mutable, moldable, and adaptable to its mind magic, and being unique and individual with those things and being the only one that could do those things. And that's the type of thing I'm talking about right there. That's the thing that you can be narcissistic about. That's the thing you can be, you feel me? So that's the shit that, but it also still is always going to play out for God in a way that anybody can, you know, just food for thought, you know what I'm saying? So, pretty much grow off of, aka. And so Gemini being the fucking, you know, expression of character for Aquarius and shit, it's gonna make it want to, you know what I'm saying, express a metaphysical travel through Aquarius, and how it takes power and control over associates in the public through being mutable, moldable, and adaptable in its metaphysical travels and its experience, wisdom, and knowledges. So, how Aquarius expressing this character is through Gemini, you know what I'm saying, being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to, you know, mental magic right now, and how it has fun, puts a spotlight on that, and has creativity ability with that. Gemini metaphysically traveling through, you know, Uranus metaphysically traveling through Pluto right now, having the ability to expand spiritually with its wisdom, knowledges, and experiences with how the fuck it sees, you know, the public can be integrated with its associations and associates to be able to be, you know, fixate and sustain a celestial creation, aka, you know what I'm saying, from that frequency of creation with Gemini, being able to, you know, flow through those ideologies, philosophies, and shit, that's where it wants to be metaphysically traveled at. That's its opposition. It's motherfucking balance of power. So it has to have, with so much power comes great responsibility. You're gonna have to see that you'll be responsible and shit with that too as well, because the metaphysical travel ain't just gonna come easy. It's gonna be your opposition. So that's the house that you gonna have to put in, like, work type shit. So that's like the house that the mutable, modal, and adaptable ability gets, you know what I'm saying, gets fiery. So you're gonna have to have more air control, have more, you know what I'm saying, with oneself and one's ideologies, philosophies, if you want to direct it in that way, shape, and form. Because Sagittarius is such a free, flowing, energetic sign that it wants to just go, not really just go all over the place like Gemini, but it wants to go to different places, and it's going to. So that's where Gemini as well, it wants to do that thing. So that's the vice versa, you know what I'm saying? Ninth house from Gemini is going to want to make it fixate and sustain a public arena from not initiating credit, but being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to how its visions and experience, wisdom, and knowledge is being able to be, spiritually expanded from its mind magic and shit like that, integrated into the public arena from its associations in the public and shit like that, with Pluto being an Aquarius, taking power control over those things, shit like that. So expression of character from there, pretty much Pisces is gonna be expressing the metaphysical travel of motherfucking Cancer. So Pisces being the metaphysical travel of Cancer, that's gonna be like, us having to expand spiritually when it comes to how we have dream, faith, belief, and imagination, delusion and shit, but it be mutable, modal, and adaptable to both how we connect with other dream, faith, belief, and imagination, delusion, and how we connect ourselves with our metaphysical travel of what the fuck we have experienced wisdom and knowledge through, and as well as others, how they have experienced wisdom and knowledge through they emotions of they experiencing, expressing their character and shit through Cancer. So from fifth house, Pisces wanting to have fun, have a creative outlet to be able to have its childlike spirit be expressed in a home, familiar, family, privacy type way, because that's where Pisces fifth house is Cancer, you know what I'm saying? Because it wants to feel at home, feel like comfortable and familiar with how it has fun and how it creates and how motherfucking it shines a spotlight on its creative abilities and shit like that. It wants to feel that comfortable. It wants to feel home with that. So that's what the fuck. And dealing with it being in Jupiter and Venus right now, it's gonna be wanting to show us that we're gonna have to expand spiritually, dealing with how the fuck we have initiate and create our emotions in how we go through wisdom, knowledges, and or how we go through experience and gain wisdom and knowledges out of them. You know what I'm saying? And how the fuck we are initiating, creating our emotions when it comes to showing love, value, and appreciation, and as well as, receiving love, value, and appreciation. So, like I said, pretty much, Cancer is destiny and path right now is metaphysically traveling. So that's pretty much through the North Node. The destiny of it's gonna have to be through its dreams, faith, belief, and imagination, delusions, fantasies, and and going through the collective waters of it, connecting its dreams and faith and belief, imagination, fantasy, delusions to everyone else's as well. You know what I'm saying? Be immutable, modal, and adaptable to that. So you know what I'm saying? Moving on from there, that's the trines. Like I said, though, it's a lot more than emotion, expression of character, emotion of experience, and embodiment, expansion of embodiment right now, fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensional energies with dealing with the squares, 10th house, 4th house, the trines, 9th house, 5th house, and the in conjunctions and shit like that. 8th house, 6th house matters and shit like that. So moving on from trines, Virgo and Aries, trine is not trine is in conjuncting each other to, you know what I'm saying, play out a 6th house, 8th house aspect of Virgo being put in the work health routine patterns in the, you know what I'm saying, South Node. And Mars right now is passion, motivation, and desires. South Node, what is comfortable, safe, secure with initiate, you know, not initiating, but, you know what I'm saying, be moldable, mutable, and adaptable. That's what Aries pretty much is trying to, you know, from Virgo 6th house from Aries is wanting Aries to be moldable, mutable, and adaptable to that work health routine pattern, and you know, that way of building on the confident reality and the motherfucking analytical abilities to be able to to go through that passion, motivation, and desire with the practical approach, with the more, you know what I'm saying, comfortable, safe, secure approach, rather than free flowing and motherfucking flying far in the wind as Aries approaches to where you motherfucking explode on a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Explosion into 4th of July type energy and shit like that. Explosions and shit, like, you know, just blowing up and shit. You'd rather just, you know, analyze and not worry so much. As like I was saying, like, this is this energy we gonna be feeling and shit. This is the energy we feeling. It's not really an anxious feeling so much as to where it's gonna pull out the motherfucking who you are in you and what you already gonna do and who you is and I am type energy. And that's the type energy that you feeling right now, that you feeling like something new in the air. That's you, bitch. You know what I'm saying? That's you. You know you gonna do something new, but what you gonna do new? You know what I'm saying? So that's like, you know what I'm saying? That embodiment of expansion right now is what Aries is going through with the South Node and Mars right now. So that's pretty much how we've been mutable, moldable, and adaptable, but not just Aries, all our Aries, you know what I'm saying, is going through the 6th house, moldable, be moldable, mutable, adaptable to its work health routine patterns. So we got to put in work, bitch, put in work. You know what I'm saying? Expression of, or embodiment of expression is what we're going to have to be doing with that work, though. So the embodiment of the expansion of, you know, expressing the internal work with being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to having a practical approach to those passions, motivations, desires, analyzing and producing, you know what I'm saying, practical, not being perfection results, but also, you know what I'm saying, feeling comfortable, safe, and secure with, you know, going about that approach. Results with it being in the South Node as well is having to show us that, you know what I'm saying, that's what the fuck we're gonna have to embody and shit is our, you know what I'm saying, Aries energy right now. So what the fuck we are, you know what I'm saying, mentally transforming, aka emotionally rebirthing, you know what I'm saying? That's what I kind of call it, 8th house from Virgo, Aries in Saturn, Neptune, and the motherfucking Chiron is making us see that our deep-rooted passions, desires, motivations, 8th house shit, you know, fixating, sustaining, sustentation of those emotions, passions, desires within those things, within how we transform healing and growth from pain and suffering, and how the fuck we from our personal issues, and how we transform building on the harsh reality of our personal issues and interest of values, what we truly value in our personality and shit, and how we grow to and create more dreams, desires. Dreams, faith, belief, imagination, delusions, and shit like that is gonna be how the fuck we are. You know what I'm saying? Being mentally rebirthed right now. We're mentally rebirthing all of those things, dealing with that healing, transforming pain and suffering from a personal issue into growth and healing, and filling out the foundation for not to be so fallen, but to be more of a rising phoenix than anything of the harsh reality of building on our personal interests in our personal affairs and dealings when it comes to how we value ourselves and personally are interested in the shit, you know what I'm saying, on our values and what we foundate as far as well how the fuck we are in it, how we are being multiple, mutable, and adaptable to how our dreams, faith, belief, and imagination delusions can, you know what I'm saying, can be introduced into our personal interests, values, affairs, and dealing and you know what I'm saying, personal interests, our personal values, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying, how our personality is with the collective dreams, faith, belief, imagination, delusions, and shit like that. So moving on from there, embodiment of expansion, pretty much from Gemini to Scorpio, 6th house from Gemini, Scorpio, 8th house from Gemini. Gemini 8th house from Scorpio. We seeing us having to expand our embodiment in Scorpio and what we are vulnerable with, our vulnerabilities with our deep-rooted passions and shit like that, having a work health routine pattern within that, you know what I'm saying? So having to think practically and analyze how we are gonna go about that from a Gemini aspect of how our mind magic wants to be, you know, played in those deep-rooted seated passions, desires, faith, belief, and imagination. Not imagination, deep-rooted passions, desires, secrets, you know what I'm saying, passions, motivations, not really affairs, but, you know, conjoint things dealing with the sex energy, joining two things and connecting them together, energies, is want us to make us see that the work we're gonna have to put into is coming from a place of where our mind wants to be directed, and how wants to be unique and individual with how the you know what I'm saying, mutable, multiple, and adaptable, like, ability of our fixate, sustained, deep emotions is trying to be rebirthed through the embodiment of the expansion through Scorpio, you know what I'm saying, being vulnerable with those first vulnerable, deep-rooted, seated emotions, first vulnerable experiences and you know what I'm saying, feelings when it came to being exposed in those areas of our secrets, desires, passions, motivations, sex, death, life energies, of bringing two energies together and creating a new rebirth like energies. So that's our embodiment of expansion, how we're pretty much having to embody our expansion of our frequency of what we create, you know what I'm saying, through our mental rebirth energies, but what we're mentally rebirthing actually through Scorpio, 8th house, Gemini, is Uranus having us to be individual and unique individuals with how we think, communicate, and you know what I'm saying, create a frequency in our environment of, you know, what we like to be multiple, mutable, and adaptable about, our ideologies, philosophies, aka things like that. How we like to learn, and how we learn things in our immediate environment, shit like that, is being mentally rebirthed, aka emotionally rebirthed. You know what I'm saying? Emotionally transformed, aka, you know what I'm saying, because 8th house will be deeply fixated and sustained in and shit, and that is going to be mutable, multiple, and adaptable. How we think, communicate, and analyze. Not think, communicate, but think, communicate, and our think, communicate, and our philosophies and ideologies, and how we learn shit is wanting to mentally rebirth. So, you know what I'm saying, Scorpio how it feels, and how it desires and its passions want to mentally rebirth through the mental magic of Gemini and shit like that. So the expansion of embodiment of expansion from there, pretty much Cancer being 8th house from Sag, it being wanting to fixate and sustain a mental rebirth in how the fuck it's initiating and creating its emotions in its home, family, and privacy and shit like that. It's coming off to be like, you know what I'm saying? It's coming off to be wanting to create a home, family, and privacy of a deep mental rebirth and how the fuck it experiences wisdom, knowledge, and expansion. How the fuck it is, you know what I'm saying? From Sagittarius being this, from Cancer being Sagittarius' 8th house, is wanting to expand from a deep seated rooted expansion of experience, wisdom, and knowledges, and showing love, value, and appreciation to others, as well as one own's way of creating its initiating and creating its emotions and shit. So in its home, family, and privacy, like I said. So Cancer wanted to expand that embodiment of that, expand that embodiment of that rebirth from Sagittarius to be able to have a work health routine pattern with that mental rebirth, have a emotional connection with the moon being in Gemini right now, and a reaction response from that building that emotional connection through being mutable, moldable, and adaptable to one's own vision and one's own visions and one's own experiences and one's own wisdom and knowledges that it can gain through putting in that work of embodying that expansion of that mental rebirth from Sagittarius. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Going on from there, embodying the expansion of embodiment. You know what I'm saying? AKA of Aquarius is, my bad. Virgo is Aquarius. So Virgo 6th house is Aquarius. See what I'm saying? Like I was saying earlier, Virgo's 6th house is being mutable, moldable, and adaptable to how it thinks, communicates, analyze, has a work health routine pattern, is within its associations and its associates in the public arena, how it fixates and sustains its embodiment and its expression of its embodiment. So that's where Virgo gets smooth, it gets savvy, it gets, you know what I'm saying, technical, it gets rational, it gets, you know what I'm saying, it gets puts in work and has a routine and is real healthy in Aquarius, because Aquarius is where it can shine its own you know what I'm saying, infinity to itself of being mutable, moldable, and adaptable to the associations, its associates, and the public. And that's how its embodiment of expansion is going through from Aquarius's 8th house being Virgo. You see what I'm saying? It wants to fixate and sustain its deep-rooted passions, desires, and secrets and sex life, death, birth, energy, mentally rebirthing that and which I skipped over Leo, I'll go back to though, and sex, death, like birth, like energies into Virgo being its, you know what I'm saying, mental rebirth. So mentally being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to being practical and sustaining self-sustaination of stability, security, and safety of work health routine patterns is where Aquarius is, you know, deep-rootedly, passionately, mentally rebirthing and shit like that, things of that nature. So that's where the fuck is we're all mentally rebirthing, aka so in our work health routine patterns, being moldable, mutable, adaptable to that of ours and others, as well as our deep-seated rooted passions being the case of this matter, being our deep-rooted seated passions, desires, and you know what I'm saying, sex, death, life, rebirth energies being mentally rebirthed with the work, health, routine patterns of in help of Virgo. You know what I'm saying? So going back to Leo, like I was saying, the expression or expansion of embodiment of expansion, aka of Sag, is Leo. Eighth house. I'm tweaking, my bad. Of Pisces is Leo. So Pisces, eighth house, Leo is making, you know what I'm saying, the embodiment and the expansion of the embodiment go along with helping, you know, Leo expand, or helping Pisces expand the embodiment of Leo through mentally rebirthing deep-rooted seated passions, desires, or am I tripping? No, it's the other way around, my bad. Eighth house of Leo is Pisces. And see, I'm glad I caught that, because that's why I was like wondering, like, hell no, I just said Leo and, you know, Pisces earlier in the and that was mismatched. But like I said, yeah, let me go back. So like Pisces, sixth house is Leo. And so Pisces being the mental rebirth for Leo is helping Leo expand the embodiment of Pisces. Sixth house from Pisces is Leo, mentally helping us be mutable, moldable, and adaptable to change, as far as when it comes to how we have work, health, routine patterns of our dream, faith, belief, imagination, delusions through Leo. By Pisces six house being Leo is wanting to be, you know, expand the embodiment, expanding this embodiment of fixating, sustaining, fun, expanding on creativity and childlike creativity and shit like that. Well, not like childlike creativity, but you see what I'm saying, childlike abilities to have fun and be free, and it's creativity, and it's being able to, you know, self-express itself through the embodiment and expansion of Leo. So with that helping us be sixth house that's where its work, health, routine pattern is at. That's where it wants to, you know what I'm saying, be mutable and moldable and adaptable to a practical approach of being analytical to its work, health, routine pattern. And shit is sixth house is Leo. You see what I'm saying? So that's like I said right before Virgo and shit. It's Leo is wanting to help Pisces expand its embodiment through work, health, routine pattern. And Pisces is eighth house from Leo. So this is where it gets deep rooted, seated passions and emotions to have, you know what I'm saying, a mental rebirth and mentally rebirthing its sex, death, like rebirth energies through Pisces. It's through having a mutable, moldable, and adaptable, like dream, faith, belief, and imagination, delusion through its destiny. That's its destiny right now, is Pisces eighth house. It's going through the death, rebirth, and transformation of its own deep-rooted, seated, fixated, and sustained emotions and shit like that, by being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to a dream, faith, belief, and imagination, as well as others and shit like that of that nature. That's its mental rebirth. And from there, pretty much Scorpio being the mental rebirth for Aries being the embodiment of expansion for Scorpio, pretty much is having Scorpio help Scorpio embody its expansion through mentally, you know what I'm saying, being moldable, mutable, and adaptable to a practical approach to how the fuck Scorpio wants to be, wants to put in work and have a health routine pattern. You know what I'm saying? So with Chiron, Neptune and Saturn being there, it's going to be going through a personal issue with having to heal, transform, and that pain, suffering, you know what I'm saying, and shit like that into a growth aspect, and having to initiate and create a personal issue and shit like that, or interest, a value and shit like that, of when it comes to building on the harsh reality of its own personal issues and shit like that, going through that fire baptism, as well as the mutable, modal, and adaptive aspect of having a dream, faith, belief, and imagination, is what Aries is going to be having to, initiate and create for Pisces to, my bad, not Pisces, Scorpio, to be able to, to have a embody his expansion. So Scorpio's embodiment of expansion is initiating, creating passion, motivation of its personal issues, interest, or desires, dealing with its value and its personal affairs and shit like that. So that's pretty much Scorpio being helping Aries from there mentally rebirth. Aries 8th house is Scorpio, so Aries is being helped through along from helping Scorpio emotionally, not emotionally, but embody that expansion of his mental rebirth through Scorpio. So Aries is going to be mentally rebirthing through Scorpio. 8th house is deep rooted seated passions, desires, motivations and shit like that. And sex, death, like birth like energies is being mentally rebirthed through Scorpio Lilith in its first embarrassments, desires, its first vulnerabilities and shit like that, when it comes to how the fuck, you know what I'm saying, Scorpio, or whatever the case, what its, its scorpionic traits is, the 8th house of its sex, death, birth, rebirth like energies and shit like that, having to be mentally rebirthed from how it's, felt vulnerable in that first connection to that experience of, feeling embarrassed or whatever the case with that emotion, and being exposed, more than, more than anything, with that emotion of that deep rooted seated emotion of Scorpio. So from there, embodiment expansion of Aquarius is motherfucking Cancer. You know what I'm saying? So Cancer is what is embodying, helping the embodiment of expansion of Aquarius. And so by Scorpio, not Scorpio, keep saying Scorpio. I was thinking about the deep rooted seated passion and motivation from so basically 8th house from Cancer is you know what I'm saying, Aquarius and Pluto right now, it's having to be mentally rebirthed, and how it's deep rooted seated passions, motivations, and desires, with its first or not first, but what is how it takes power and control over the collective, as far as its associations, associates, in the public and shit like that. It's gonna have to be rebirthed. It's gonna be being mentally and emotionally rebirthed. You know what I'm saying? Helping the embodiment of expansion from there, basically, from the rebirth is, Aquarius being 8th house from, Aquarius being 8th house from Cancer being 6th house from Aquarius, it having a mental multiple, have to be mentally multiple, mutable, and adaptable to, initiating, creating a home, family, and privacy within a work, health, routine pattern, being its embodiment of it in its expansion of its embodiment of its expansion. So through Jupiter and Venus being there, it's going to be having to be seen as being played out through initiating and creating a home, family, and privacy through going through wisdom, knowledge, and experiences, and creating its own, initiating its own feelings and emotions and things like that, through giving love, value, showing love, value, and appreciation, as well as receiving love, value, and appreciation and shit like that. So that's how the embodiment of expansion pretty much goes. You know what I'm saying? how it flows. And for the balance of power to close out here, we're gonna be balancing the, you know what I'm saying, Saturn, or not Saturn, but Uranus, moon transit right now, with Gemini being in Uranus, our mental magic being mutable, moldable, and adaptable to how we are individual and unique, being balanced out from seventh house from, you know what I'm saying, its opposition of Sag to be having to be relatable with its relationships and have the way it relates and initiate and creates its own mentality of a relationship with that thing in itself, as it is the opposition of, you know, Sagittarius. So it's gonna have to be, you know, be moldable, mutable, and adaptable to how it communicates and how it thinks and creates its frequency in its own environment. Um, and Sag is basically is gonna help it, you know what I'm saying, be relatable, more relatable to how Gemini's mind magic and how it wants to be unique and individual, with Uranus being there and shit like that, gonna happen to be, you know what I'm saying, be moldable, mutable, and adaptable through the moon right now, and through his experiences, going through his relationships and the way it relates and creates his, you know, individual one-on-one connections with his relationships through metaphysically traveling through that, you know, emotion, creating that emotion, and reacting and responding to that from the moon being in Sag right now. Balance of power for Leo and Aquarius right now. Leo and the Sun and Mercury is seventh house from Aquarius, having to have, you know, one-on-one relationship connections with how the fuck it is balancing its ego and its being seen right now, how it wants to be seen with its fun, creativity, and childlike aspect of how it self-expresses itself and shit like that, is through gonna be having to be, you know, viewed and viewed and thought about and analyzed in a way of being relatable to its relationships and its one-on-one connections and shit like that, through its, you know, whatever the so-called may be, associates in the public arena. So it's gonna have to be, you know, take power and control over that. Basically, Aquarius gonna have to be, you know what I'm saying, have a spotlight and a mental and a motherfucking you know what I'm saying, mental spotlight as well, you could say, with, you know what I'm saying, because some people say Aquarius is exalted right here in Mercury, but whatever the case, thinking, communicating, analyzing around how, you know what I'm saying, its ego is seen, aka how its childlike, expressionatory, creative, you know, ability to fixate and sustain and be initiated and create its own relationships, with how it shows it's creative and shit, and how its mind, you know what I'm saying, is built on how it initiates and creates its own mind, and it's the way it thinks in that relationship and communicates and with its relationships and shit, is dealing with that, having to deal with Leo, being consciously aware of his childlike, you know, childlike creativity aspects and shit like that, with his one-on-one relationships. In the Sun and Mercury, with his one-on-one relationships having to be, you know, relatable, moldable. I mean, not moldable, but relatable, and initiating, creating its own mind and shit when it comes to how it communicates and creates a one-on-one relationship with communicating and thinking and analyzing about those things, about its, you know, creativity, natures and shit like that. Moving on from there, balance of power of Virgo, you know what I'm saying, and Pisces, the theme of the motherfucking year. I would say, you know what I'm saying, I'm coming into this motherfucking next year, it's gonna be pretty much Aries, I feel like, and Aquarius and Gemini, but seventh house being this, you know what I'm saying, it's mutable, moldable, and adaptable connection to it, how it thinks communicate, or how it thinks communicate and analyzes about having a circumstance of feeling comfortable, safe, secure when it's one-on-one relationships, and basically has to have a work health routine pattern with those one-on-one relationships, and how it thinks, communicates, and builds on and leads those conversations and things of that nature in those relationships, dealing with the work health routine patterns and passions, motivations, and desires, and having to feel comfortable with that. It's pretty much the balance of power that Pisces gonna have to be going through for this to pan out. You know what I'm saying? In a way that it could really balance the two out of the those magics of, you know what I'm saying? Because all the mutables like magic and shit of their magic of dream, faith, belief, imagination, delusion, and putting in the work to actually see that come to life, shit like that. So that's like, you know what I'm saying, Pisces, 7th house from Virgo is one-on-one relationships show that it's more in its destiny is more suitable towards initiating its own path as far as its relationships, and how it communicates its own mind and its way that it forms relationships, one-on-one relationships, with how it you know what I'm saying, it's mutable, moldable, and adaptable to dreams, faith, belief, imaginations, and delusions and shit like that. So you know what I'm saying, that's pretty much it. Hey man, it's been good with y'all. Love y'all, man. And not all y'all, but stay safe, stay spiritually protected. Famous Mellow Ho.